Immortal Cultivation begins with time management. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyright or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 851. I want you to help me break through. Luo Yan hurriedly pulled Shilili off his body, only to find that his lower lip was already covered in blood. Bitten. Although for a cultivator, this injury is not even a minor injury, this woman is still very cruel. Shilili was still glaring at him fiercely, not caring about the ambiguous looks from the eldest brother, the third sister and the fourth brother next to her. She looked as if she wanted to eat Luo Yan, like a cute and angry little beast. So Luo Yan could only hold her gently in his arms and said, "Luli, the dream is good, but it's almost time to wake up." Shilili's body was obviously stiff, and then she slowly relaxed. After a long time, she spoke in a low voice. "Can't you let me indulge for a while?" Hearing that her voice seemed to be crying, Luo Yan was a little reluctant, but soon he hardened his heart and said with a wry smile, "Luli, if you keep playing, the third sister will go crazy." "Ah?" Shilili was a little puzzled. Liang, the third senior sister in the illusion next to her, heard her name and came over curiously. Just as she was about to speak, Shilili waved her hand and she immediately went back to her room as if nothing had happened. "Before you left, did you give all the work to her?" Luo Yan continued to ask. "Yeah." Shilili was silent for a moment, and immediately figured out the problem. She said with a smile, "Those jobs are not much." "Indeed." Luo Yan said sincerely, "I just took a look and I felt like I was going to have a nightmare at night." "Husband." Shilili sighed and said, "You are the owner of Tiangongfang after all." As the owner of Tiangongfang, she can't even handle government affairs. Isn't this a bit unreasonable? "My wife." Luo Yan held her hand and put it on his chest. "I'm not good at handling these political affairs, but you are smart and kind. I'm not at ease to leave these things to others." Shilili didn't know whether to laugh or cry, so she could only look at him silently. Luo Yan continued, "Tiangongfang is the hard work of master. That's why we need you and I to work together to run it well. In the future, we will give it to our children." "What do you mean by our children?" Shilili finally couldn't help but feel embarrassed and spat at him. "I haven't decided whether to have children or not. People who practice cultivation have long lifespans, so there is no need to consider the issue of offspring. If they choose to have children, it means that their feelings have accumulated to a certain extent." Hearing Shilili say that she hasn't thought about it yet, Luo Yan didn't care. He just took Shilili's hand and smiled. "My wife, let's go back." "Well." Shilili also stood up, and suddenly felt something in her heart and turned her head. She saw Elder Shiding push the door out of the study and look at her lovingly. "Father." Shilili said with a smile, "I'm leaving." "Luli." Elder Shiding nodded and said with a smile, "Live well with Luo Yan in the future." He waved goodbye gently. Shilili wanted to say something, but something blurred her eyes and made her completely unable to see her father's appearance. Only a vague outline remained. Leaving the moral streamer rift, Shilili spoke again. "I just discovered this secret realm. It seems to have some kind of heart-searching mechanism that can allow people to return to the memory that they are most obsessed with." "Yeah." Luo Yan was naturally very familiar with it. For example, the Shushan heart-searching cave has a similar mechanism. This kind of mechanism is not designed to confuse monks. It is mainly to help people untie their knots and perfect their Taoism. So, has Shilili's Taoism been perfected? Luo Yan looked at his wife, and saw that there was no loss on her face, only a smile. It was as if she had just woken up from a dream and smiled as if she was relieved. "I think my wife has already untied her knot, that's good." After returning to Tiangongfang, the two returned to the main hall and saw Shiking sitting at the desk with a sad face, processing documents non-stop. Liang sat next to her and said leisurely, "Junior sister, try harder, I'm very optimistic about you." Luo Yan and Shilili looked at each other, thinking that it was indeed a traditional talent of human beings to push the troublesome things to subordinates and juniors. "Let me do it." Shilili hurried over to rescue the little junior sister. Seeing that his wife started to deal with the affairs of the workshop again, Luo Yan finally breathed a sigh of relief. "In this case, I can also prepare to cross the tribulation with peace of mind." Load the file. Point 5. Southern Province of Donghuang Realm, Two Rivers Plain. Character identity. Long. Mirror Flower Water Moon template is overwritten, and he is traveling through time and space. In the south of Yuanjing City, in the command room at the front-line position, Long Long is communicating tactics with Fen Yan. And Your Highness, do you still remember that last time I offered 3 strategies, the best of which was to defend Yuanjing City to the death and delay that Cunning and White Tiger Coalition's invasion of the south? That's right. Fen Yan nodded and said, but this strategy is not feasible. I have told you the reason. Well, Long Long knew that it was the political situation within the Vermilion Bird clan that would not allow Fen Yan to take this risk, so he smiled and said, although we can't do this, we can make the White Tiger God General think that we are going to use this strategy, which is another level of deception in war. Oh? Fen Yan's eyes lit up immediately. Although she hadn't figured out the key yet, she liked the term deception in war. As long as the White Tiger God realizes that we are going to delay time, he will certainly launch a strong attack by any means necessary. Long Long continued to analyze, using a strong attack to consume the resources of the coalition forces. Although it did not achieve the purpose of delaying time, it is not too bad. The real risk is, Fen Yan reminded him, the defenders in Yuanjing City cannot be lost. The reason why the White Tiger God chose a strong attack is because he is sure that we will not be able to transfer troops on a large scale. The previous tunnel has been used once, and now the Horn clan has dispatched Daitin, so this strategy can no longer be used in the future. This is also within my expectations, Your Highness. Long Long smiled slightly, took out the red dust 100 worlds map that Luo Yang got from Shiluli, and then unfolded it and said, this magic weapon has 2 volumes in one set. Any troop in the position of one volume can be teleported to the position of the other volume at any time. Fen Yan raised her eyebrows and showed a look of surprise. There is such a rare treasure in the world. In this way, let alone evacuating the defenders of Yuanjing City, just find a spy with this magic weapon, sneak into the heartland of the White Tiger clan, and then teleport a large number of high-level cultivators to destroy it, and teleport them away when the ancestor arrives. Repeat this 3 or 5 times, and the White Tiger can come and propose a ceasefire agreement. Seeing Fen Yan's covetous heart, Long Long continued with a smile. This treasure has recognized me as its master, and only I can carry and activate it. But my cultivation level is low, and my true essence is limited, so I can't teleport too many people at once. But if I can overcome the tribulation and break through to the Dongyuan realm, then even if the number of people in Yuanjing City doubles, I can easily bring them out. Chapter 852. The 3 Disasters of Yuanying. Long Long had a magic weapon that could teleport monks over long distances. The news spread quickly among the Feather Clan and the Dragon Clan. The Great Elder personally rushed to the front line and privately blamed Long Long. Next time you encounter such a thing, tell the clan first. Long Long naturally knew what he meant. It was nothing more than that the Feather Clan knew the news before the Dragon Clan, and he was a little unhappy. So he tactfully reminded the other party, if you want to use this treasure to gain an advantage in the war, the Feather Clan will eventually have to go through it. It's better to use it to gain the other party's trust and show our honesty. King Khan sighed. He didn't mean to hold Long Long responsible, so he changed the subject and said, your magic weapon is really a rare thing. The White Tiger God will never expect it. In fact, it's a waste of talent to use it to rescue Yuanjing City. Long Long was stunned for a moment, and then suddenly reacted. Wow, the clan is so cruel. King Khan meant that since they were going to take the enemy by surprise, they might as well make a final decision the first time, such as sending a large number of cultivators to the imperial capital to destroy the Kulling's nest. As long as the Kulling clan could be crippled, who would care what happened to the defenders of Yuanjing City in the end? However, Long Long had already told the Yu clan about this in advance, so the attitude of the Yu clan should also be considered. Since King Khan said so, it must be Fen Yan who advocated rescuing Yuanjing City first, so King Khan said the clan should be informed in advance. Forget it, the most urgent thing is to improve your cultivation realm as soon as possible. King Khan waved his hand, you should go back to the clan first and meet the ancestor first. Long Long nodded in response, and asked again, what about Long Yu? King Khan couldn't help but smile bitterly, and could only wave his hand. Let her go back with you. The battlefield is not short of a fighting force like Long Yu, but if Long Long's state of mind is defective and he fails to cross the tribulation because of Long Yu's absence, this kind of thing will never be allowed by the clan. Now that the teleportation effect of the Red Dust 100 Worlds map is highly related to Long Long's own realm cultivation, then his cultivation is the most important thing in the clan, nothing else. Long Long handed over the word to Keen Satone, and then called Long Yu, and the two left the battlefield together and rushed to Dongzhou. After returning to Jianmu Temple, Kanglong Patriarch quickly met the two. The first thing he did was to ask about Longlong's cultivation realm. How far has your blood been condensed now? To reply to the old ancestor, Longlong said respectfully, now the demon pill has dispersed into his limbs and bones, and can no longer be seen. Oh. The old ancestor Kanglong also knew the situation. The disappearance of the demon pill means that the transformation realm is close to perfection, and it is only waiting to break through the realm and enter the cave realm. This Longlong, how long has it been since he transformed? How come he is going to enter the cave realm so soon? Is the bloodline level in his body so extraordinary that it can make his cultivation improve by leaps and bounds? The old ancestor Kanglong looked at Longhu again, thinking that Longlong's bloodline is far better than Longhu's. It seems that Longlong's marriage still needs to be more cautious. Since the transformation realm is perfect, then the matter of transcending the tribulation, the old ancestor, I will tell you in detail. The old ancestor Kanglong patiently told him some matters about entering the cave realm. In the Yuning realm of the human race, the Yuning formed is like a child, while in the Dongyuan realm of the demon race, the Yuning formed is the phantom of the body. For example, if the Kanglong clan enters the Dongyuan realm, there will be a green dragon in the garden. In addition to the difference in appearance, the various abilities of the Yuning, such as entrusting the divine consciousness or even the soul, distracting the manipulation of magic weapons, and even taking over the body of others, can also be done by the Dongyuan phantom of the demon race. There is no fundamental difference between the two. The subsequent matters of the tribulation that the Kanglong ancestor explained were basically the same as what other human outs had inquired in advance. First of all, the difficulty of the infant formation tribulation is far greater than the pill formation tribulation. Many demon cultivators were very smooth during the transformation and pill formation period, but they could not withstand the tribulation when condensing the Dongyuan, and were directly killed by the divine thunder. Such cases are simply countless. Otherwise, the Dongyuan realm cultivators would not be far less than the transformation realm cultivators. After all, there is such a big filter here. Secondly, there is not one kind of Yuning realm tribulation, but three kinds, called three disasters. Chen Gyonzhu had once formed a first-grade golden elixir, and had gone through the 5 elements tribulation, the heart demon tribulation, and the yin-yang tribulation. Among them, the heart demon tribulation was caused by an external demon, and had nothing to do with the way of heaven. In fact, the way of heaven only sent down one kind of disaster, which was the thunder tribulation. The 5 elements tribulation was a thunder tribulation of the 5 elements, and the yin-yang tribulation was a thunder tribulation of the yin-yang attributes. In essence, they were all thunder tribulations. But from the golden elixir to the nascent soul, one needs to survive the thunder tribulation, fire tribulation, and wind tribulation at the same time. Needless to say, the thunder tribulation is still a thunder tribulation from the sky that hits you. With the help of various formations, Taoist methods, magic weapons, and flying swords, the thunder tribulation can be broken in advance, but the thunder tribulation is often dense and powerful, which is a great test of the abundance of the true essence and wealth of the person who survives the tribulation. The fire tribulation is yin fire, which will spontaneously burn from the Onqua palate at the bottom of the feet, gradually move up along the legs, burn into the limbs and bones, and finally burn directly to the dantian, killing the person. Since it suddenly ignites from the soles of the feet, it is impossible to intercept or dodge it in advance like the thunderbolt. The person who crosses the tribulation has already been hit by the infire when he finds it, so he can only work hard on how to resist the infire. The advice given by the Kanglong Patriarch is to practice the clan's dragon body refining secret method to the extreme. When the infire ignites, immediately use the power of dragon blood to force it down, and try not to let the infire exceed the ankles. The last wind tribulation is the crow wind. Its difficulty lies in that it is invisible and colorless, silent and breathless, and blows directly into the top of the head, destroying the sea of consciousness and killing the person who crosses the tribulation instantly. This wind tribulation is the most difficult to guard against, because it is very likely that you are guarding against the thunderbolt and the infire, and you are completely unaware of the crow wind coming. And the crow wind is different from the infire. It directly attacks the sea of consciousness from the top of the head, so it cannot be defended. You can only avoid it in advance, otherwise once you are hit, you will be unable to recover. The numerous intense thunderbolts, the inescapable infire, and the undefended crowing are collectively called the 3 disasters, which are the greatest disasters for breaking through from the golden core realm to the nascent soul realm. Of course, the demons are still active during this period. Whether you are crossing the tribulation or not, you must seize the opportunity to cooperate with the 3 disasters and eat you up together. After Long Long understood the situation, he said goodbye to the Kang Long patriarch and left, secretly calculating in his heart. The thunderbolts are still the same. First, use disposable magic weapons, flying swords, etc. to burn them to save the true essence, and then use the formation to carry them, use the Taoism to sweep them, and use the flying sword to block them. It depends on who has better fighting skills. Since the infire cannot be avoided, it must compete with defensive capabilities. Therefore, although he is in the Eastern Empire realm, he cannot cross the tribulation with Long Long's personality, but must use Ling Yunpo's natural sword bone to resist it. If it doesn't work, ask He Jing to burn the true essence and force the infire out with the damage. The crowing looks the most troublesome, but it may also be the simplest. Others may not be able to detect the attack of the hurricane, but Long Long firmly believes that the scanning ability is invincible. Could it be that Ah Jing scanned the hurricane in advance and deliberately did not remind me? Definitely not, right? Ah, right. Lin Jing said helplessly, but you should also prepare well, don't rely on me for everything. Chapter 853 Asking for help from a cheap master. Following the order from the Kang Long patriarch, the entire Kang Long clan also started to rumble like a machine. Various disposable magic weapons, flying swords, and various secret elixirs were transported from all over Dongzhou to the East China Sea. These are consumables, so the more the better. Of course, low-level magic weapons and single thunderbolts can only be exchanged one for one, and the number of thunderbolts is too terrifying, so it is definitely not affordable to exchange them alone. There must be high-level treasures to withstand the bombardment of the main force of thunderbolts. In terms of top-level treasures, the Kang Long clan may not be richer than Long Long, but the Kang Long patriarch was very straightforward to lend out a few treasures. The first is called Dim Hai Shenzhen. Let's not talk about the other magical powers of this treasure for the time being. One of its advantages is that it is indestructible. No matter what thunderbolt hits it, it won't leave even a mark. The second is called Purple Gold Dragon Scale Armor. Wearing this treasure on the body can greatly enhance the wearer's dragon blood activity, speed up the recovery and circulation of true essence, and enhance the root bone and physical defense. With Long Long's eyes, of course, he could see at a glance that these two magic weapons were very suitable for resisting the heavenly tribulation, but it was a bit unlucky to combine them. He felt that if he continued to stay with the Kang Long patriarch, he would sooner or later be snatched away by a monkey demon who had cultivated to great success. Apart from these two, there was Long Long's own Chuan Divine Cauldron. He made a heavy cauldron with the dragon scales and basalt armor pieces he had obtained from the Yunwang's kingdom in the past, and designed the corresponding formation. As long as the Calamity Thunder fell and entered the range of the formation, a dragon tail shadow would be born to break the Calamity Thunder, which consumed the blood power stored in the basalt armor pieces inside the cauldron. There was no need for the user to control it, and it was completely automated. As for other means, they were usually used, so I won't mention them for now. If it really doesn't work and you were in danger, there is also that burning essence of the Kunlun mirror and the explosion of the small universe of the Qinshuming sword. In short, Long Long was not completely helpless for this infant-forming heavenly tribulation. What really troubled him was actually the issue of confidentiality. If you survive the calamity with the support of the Kang Long clan, it will be difficult to avoid the clan's eyes and ears when you survive the calamity. Although they won't stare at you at the scene of the calamity, whether they are watching from a distance or checking the scene afterwards, they can detect the various means used by Long Long. For example, if the Qinshuming sword really appears on the stage, it is impossible that no demon will recognize it. Although the magic sword chooses its master, there is no need to worry about someone plotting, but how can you explain the origin of the Qinshuming sword? You got it by chance before, then why didn't you report it to the clan? You just got it and are about to report it, then where did you get it from? How did you get it? You got it a long time ago and forgot to report it to the clan. Damn, can your reason be more fake? Not to mention, the demon world is not completely ignorant of the cultivation world. For example, my cheap master Shiro runs between the two sides, being the leader of her Jielong legacy here and the leader of her Dong Huangdu there, playing the role of a double agent with great pleasure. If she recognized his Qinshuming sword and thought of Lim Yunpo, then the secret would be revealed. In short, if he wanted to survive the tribulation under the eyes of the Kang Long clan, even if he had thousands of means, apart from some things that Long Long shouldn't have, there wouldn't be much left. What's more, the infant-forming tribulation is already extremely dangerous. If some dangerous changes occur at the time, forcing him to use his trump card at the risk of being exposed, would he choose to be exposed? Or would he choose to wait for death? Long Long pondered for a long time and decided that even if it would cause doubt within the clan, he would never survive the tribulation under the care of the Kanglong clan. I heard that you were going to survive the tribulation. Xiao suddenly pushed the door open from outside and asked directly. Speak of the devil, and he will appear. Long Long bowed quickly and greeted, Master. Let's talk about business first. Xiao stared at him with bright eyes. Why did your cultivation level improve so quickly? Long Long smiled and said, I don't know, maybe my bloodline is at a higher level, even at Majesty. It took him almost 1,200 years from the time he transformed to the time he entered the Dongyuan realm. Xiao said expressionlessly, even so, he broke the shortest record of our clan's breakthrough in the transformation realm, and was hailed as a genius that appears rarely in 10,000 years. How long did it take you? 100 years. Actually, I had some adventures. Long Long had to change the topic. I have never heard of any adventure that can allow someone to cross 3 levels in the transformation realm and directly step into the cave origin realm. Xiao continued to expose his lies. Every time you cross a level in the 3 levels, there is a bottleneck obstacle that needs to be broken through. Or are you going to tell me next that you just happened to encounter an adventure and crossed a level, then broke through the bottleneck, and happened to encounter the next adventure, and so on 3 times in a row? Long Long was stunned for a moment after hearing this, thinking that although he didn't guess it right, it was not far off. I first received elixirs from the immortals, and directly reached the perfection of the God-preserving realm. Then I broke through the bottleneck, and received elixirs from the immortals again, and again reached the perfection of the root-seeking realm. Finally, I broke through the bottleneck, and received elixirs from the immortals again, and reached the perfection of the subtle realm. It's just that some of these kind-hearted immortals are immortals from Penglai, some are immortals from Cunning, and some are immortals from your Donghuangdo, who receive the care of so many immortals. What else can it be but an adventure? He smiled and said, as expected of you, Master. You guessed it all right. Xiao. This disciple is so thick-skinned that she couldn't say anything else. Seeing that Xiao was so angry that she couldn't speak, Long Long said seriously, if it weren't for such a series of adventures, how could there be a way to ascend to heaven in one step? I'm ignorant, so I beg Master to teach me. Xiao fell silent immediately. If you want to ascend to heaven in one step, you can't rely on hard work. Only by encountering adventures frequently, or by the cultivation of great powers at all costs, can you achieve this effect. If it is the latter, since it is not based on one's own efforts, the experience of fighting is often very lacking. Long Long's combat power is far superior to his peers in the same level, as can be seen from the last time he easily defeated the personal guard of His Highness Fengan, so he is definitely not a big shot. Although the series of adventures is too incredible, it is not impossible to think about it carefully, but the probability is too low. Is it really a series of adventures? Xiao originally suspected that her cheap disciple had secretly joined some power and obtained a lot of resources, so that he could improve his cultivation so quickly. Now that she thought about it carefully, the possibility was not great. She thought about it secretly for a moment, and gradually dispelled her doubts. She heard Long Long say again, Master, if my disciple does not want to survive the tribulation in the Kanglong clan, is there any way? Chapter 854. Make sure all day don't want to survive the tribulation in the clan. Xiao frowned when she heard this. Even if she used her bug to think, she knew that with the current importance that the Kanglong clan attached to Long Long, he would never be allowed to leave the clan site. But she could also guess why Long Long had this idea. It was nothing more than some means that were not convenient to use in public, and he was afraid of being questioned by the clan. Don't blame this apprentice for hiding it. Now that the Jialong clan has declined to a point where it can't be done, the slightest mistake will attract the fear of the Kanglong. If he is not so cautious, what else can he do? Thinking of this, Xiao suddenly felt relieved, and even Long Long's previous perfunctory concealment of her things no longer made her angry and disgusted. After all, he still has the blood of Jialong in his body. It's better to be cautious, at least he won't die too quickly, right? You want to leave the Kanglong clan to survive the tribulation, which is almost impossible to do. After pondering for a long time, Xiao slowly said, but if you just want to survive the tribulation without being watched by the clan, there is no problem. Long Long. He was not a fool after all, and he soon distinguished the difference between Xiao's two statements. In other words, he had to survive the tribulation within the sphere of influence of the Kanglong clan, but he had to avoid the eyes and ears of the clan. Master, where do you think it would be more appropriate for me to survive the tribulation? Long Long asked cautiously. Why not go to the giant stomach abyss? Xiao instructed him. Giant stomach abyss. Long Long had some impression of this place name. In the past, Long was arranged by the clan to practice in seclusion, and he went to find her under the leadership of Qin Zhao and Qin Yi in a palace deep in the abyss. Anyone from the Kang Long clan who wanted to practice in seclusion basically practiced in the deep sea palace. 5 miles northeast of the palace, the seabed turned straight down and entered the bottomless abyss. Looking down from above, the abyss was like a huge mouth. It was rumored that it led to the esophagus of a giant beast, so it was called the giant stomach abyss. Long Long had never thought of going through the tribulation in the seabed, but now it seemed that there was no problem. First of all, Geolongs are good at water. It is difficult for human cultivators to move in the water, and going through the tribulation in the sea is even more of a pipe dream, but Geolongs do not have this problem. Secondly, in the water environment, the fire and gold element will be restrained, and although the water and wood elements will be strengthened, he has the innate 5 elements of divine light, so he is not afraid. Finally, the deep sea environment blocks the vision, and under the surging sea currents, any traces of Taoism will be washed away. Perfect. Thank you, Master. Long Long thanked sincerely. When you went to the Dongyuan realm, you will be qualified to contact some of the clan's affairs. Xiao finally nodded and said, the Dongyuan heavenly tribulation is extremely dangerous, be careful. Disciple must be careful. Long Long saluted again, but refused to leave, just staring at her eagerly. Xiao sighed again, took out a jade white pill bottle, and handed it over with some pain. When you were out of true energy, take one. Disciple knows. Long Long was overjoyed and took the pill bottle and bowed again. If you have completed the tribulation, remember to return the remaining pills to me. Xiao reminded again. Okay, I understand, I will definitely finish it. Long Long nodded quickly. After sending off his cheap master Xiao, Long Long finally breathed a sigh of relief. The last thing the master said just now was nothing more than a hint to him that your cultivation level was too low before, so the master did not tell you too much about the Jialong clan, but it does not mean that I don't trust you. Regardless of whether Long Long believes this statement or not, as long as he enters the nascent soul, Xiao's trust in him will be deeper, and he will have the opportunity to contact Biaming Fanyan, which is also good news from this point of view. As for the place of tribulation, since Xiao specifically mentioned it, it means that the clan is not currently planning to force me to arrange a place to tribulation. However, although it has not been arranged at this time, it may not be arranged in a while. I still have to settle things as soon as possible. So Long Long found the clan leader Qin Biawang again and asked directly, regarding my tribulation, what arrangements does the clan have next? Qin Biawang was having a headache because of the war on the front line. Hearing this, he said, the ancestor said that the clan will fully cooperate with you in this regard. Just make your request. Full cooperation means giving you whatever you want and never asking questions. Long Long was very satisfied with this and immediately said directly, I want to cross the tribulation in the giant stomach abyss. Oh? Qin Biawang was surprised. Although there is not much difference between water and land for the dragon clan, it is still a fact that the resistance is greater. Moreover, the deep sea environment weakens some of the tribulation thunder, but it has no effect on the fire. The crow-wind is even more difficult to guard against. After all, the light is darker at the bottom of the sea, and it is more difficult to detect any movement. Generally speaking, only 1 out of 100 dragons who want to survive the tribulation will choose to go into the water, and the overall success rate is not very high. Why does Long Long have to survive the tribulation in the sea? Qin Biawang suddenly had an idea and thought of the Dinghozenskin that the ancestor Kang Long lent to Long Long. I see. He immediately showed a satisfied look of you are not a simple kid and smiled, you want to use the Dinghozenskin that the ancestor lent you to stir up a big whirlpool to clear the tribulation thunder, right? That's a good idea. Long Long. I'll use the Dinghozenskin to stir up a big whirlpool on the seabed. It does sound feasible. The clan leader is indeed very discerning. He complimented with a smile, the kid hasn't said it yet, but the clan leader has already guessed the reason. Ha ha ha. Qin Biawang immediately laughed with satisfaction, although I saw it at a glance, it is rare that you can think of such a clever plan to make full use of the geographical advantage. Go. In the few days before the tribulation, the clan will block the area near the sea abyss for you. Long Long hurriedly thanked and left. After taking care of the family side, the last thing to do was the little fox. Going back to the bedroom to find Longhu, he saw that the fox was sitting on the bed wiping her eyes. When she saw him come in, she turned her head away. What's wrong, Fox? Long Long hurried over to hug her. Why are you crying? Just now Keen told me that she had a cousin who was once in the transformation stage, but later failed to pass the KV1 heavenly tribulation and died. Long Hu cried, Long, will the KV1 heavenly tribulation be very dangerous? Well, Long knew that the answer to this kind of question requires a lot of skills. If you say yes, she will definitely be worried. If you say no, she will definitely not believe it. Therefore, he just thought for a moment and replied, it depends on the person. For people with strong strength, it is easy to overcome the tribulation. For people with low combat power, it is as difficult as ascending to heaven to overcome the tribulation. Is that so? Long Hu said blankly, thinking that Long's strength is indeed amazing. Even the clan leader said that he has no rivals among his peers. Will Long successfully overcome the tribulation and come back to find me? She asked naively. Yes. Long smiled. Then make a pinky promise. Long Hu stretched out his little finger. Pinky promise, I promise. Chapter 855a. Jing saved me. Giant stomach abyss, the bottom of the deep sea. Long finally breathed a sigh of relief after counting the supplies he brought with him. He looked up, and the endless waters blocked the light tightly, and even the migrating fish were difficult to see clearly, forming a dark and thick sky curtain. No wonder most cultivators are unwilling to survive in this deep sea, because their vision is too seriously disturbed. If you can't even see the movement trajectory of the robbery thunder, how can you deal with the heavenly robbery? But Long has the ability to scan, so he is not afraid. He pinched the magic formula with his hand, revealing the dragon body, and his huge body quickly coiled on the seabed. Then, start digging a hole. Although the formation set up by the Chuan Divine Cauldron is powerful, the more highly automated the thing is, the worse its ability to resist external interference. Maybe a robbery thunder scrapes the edge of the formation, and the entire formation will fail. Long will never allow this to happen, so he will dig a hole in the seabed and then place the formation at the bottom to try to avoid the formation being affected by the heavenly robbery. Of course, it is not very safe to just bury it in the seabed, so some defensive facilities must be built above the formation. After the formation was arranged, Long began to build a double-layer fortress and constructed a nested formation. The lower layer of the fortress is the Chuan formation, and the upper layer is the Nine-Bend Yellow River formation used by the Jindan to cross the tribulation in the past. The Nine-Bend Yellow River formation can also counterattack those who enter the formation, but the difference is that it does not have its own battery, so the formation host needs to continuously provide true energy. With the superposition of double formations, the safety factor is undoubtedly increased a lot. Among the means of resisting the heavenly tribulation, the magic formation is the only core, because it consumes less true energy and has strong resistance to beating. The disadvantage is that it cannot be moved, but there is no need to run around to cross the tribulation, so it is just right. In addition to the double formation, there are various flying swords, magic weapons, and elixirs provided by the Kanglong clan. The grades of these flying swords and magic weapons are not high, so they can be collected on a large scale. The role is to consume part of the tribulation thunder in a way of mutual destruction. The rest will have to be resisted by Long's real ability. After confirming it again, Long began to move his dragon body and began to release his dragon power unscrupulously. The aura on his body rose layer by layer, and soon climbed to the top of the transformation realm. The speed of the cyclone in his Danton was getting faster and faster, almost compressing towards the center. At the same time, there were suddenly many dark clouds above the sea. These dark clouds stretched endlessly, covering the sky above the sea area of hundreds of miles in radius, and even the Jianmu Divine Island could see the shadow in the distance. Near the giant stomach abyss, the Kanglong Patriarch and the clan leader Qin Biawang simultaneously showed their Kanglong shrewd bodies and looked towards the direction of the heavenly tribulation in the distance. How can the power of this heavenly tribulation be so terrifying? Qin Biawang said in horror, even when I passed the Dongyuan heavenly tribulation, the area of the tribulation cloud was not even 1/3 of this time. When I passed the tribulation, the momentum was similar to this. The Kanglong Patriarch said with a stiff face and forced calmness. This was a lie. In fact, the Kanglong Patriarch had also seen such a huge and terrifying heavenly tribulation for the first time, so he had no confidence at all that Long could pass the tribulation smoothly. But even if he told the truth now, it would not help the situation at all. Instead, it would make the clan leader and the clan members more panicked. So he laughed and said, but I was not as well prepared as Long back then. Whether it was the Dinghai Shinjin or the purple gold dragon scale armor, they were all top treasures that only the ancestors could control. Now that Long Long has the help of the whole clan, it should not be a problem for him to survive the tribulation. After hearing what the Kanglong patriarch said, King Boan was relieved and told the other elders not to worry. The ancestor was sure that Long Long would be able to survive the tribulation smoothly. At this time, Long Long, who was near the giant stomach abyss, scanned the endless tribulation cloud in the sky and saw the terrifying tribulation thunder contained in it. He was a little dazed for a while. What unforgivable thing have I done, or have I offended the way of heaven? You don't want to treat me like this. The intensity of this infant formation calamity is too much, comparable to the previous battle between the immortals at the orthodox and demonic camps. The aftermath alone is as powerful as the sea and the river. A cultivator in the nascent soul realm cannot survive this kind of calamity, right? The heavenly duo is still extremely straightforward, and did not give Long Long too much time to observe and think. It just waited for the calamity thunder to take shape and then quickly descended. After about a few breaths, these calamity thunders suddenly turned into 5-colored lotuses, spinning gracefully in the air. There was also boundless Buddha light and Sanskrit chanting, which sounded loudly around Long Long. The surrounding dragons. Is this an invasion by the great Buddhist power of the human race, coming here to interfere with Long Long's calamity? Be careful. Su Mingjian suddenly reminded, this seems to be the great Buddha-like calamity of the 9 dragons and 9 elephants. What calamity are you talking about? Long Long asked dumbfounded. It is said that if there is a person who is so evil that he cannot be redeemed, and his sins are so serious that even the Western Pure Land is alarmed, this Buddha-like calamity will be descended to kill him. Su Mingjian replied. Long Long was shocked and could not speak. He only heard Kunlun Mirror say, don't listen to its nonsense. This is a special calamity for the demon race. If the demon race carries Buddhist magic weapons, the probability of this calamity will increase greatly. Buddhist magic weapons? Long Long frowned and said, I don't have any Buddhist magic weapons. Then he realized that in order to deal with this calamity, the little fox stuck the Dongfang Wanjin glass lamp into him. In addition, the 7 treasures body glass branch given by the Wangxiang Immortal was also in the storage bag. To deal with the Buddha's light calamity, the effects of demon race magic and Taoist magic are very poor. Kunlun Mirror reminded, it is better to activate the Buddhist magic weapons to block it. Long Long was silent for a moment, thinking that it was possible that the heavenly duo knew that I was well prepared this time, so it deliberately sent out this kind of unconventional calamity to force me to consume my true essence to resist it. Since Jing said so, he could only pick up the Dongfang Wanjin glass lamp, inject true essence into it and activate it, and immediately shook off thousands of lights and flew into the air. Every time a light fell on a lotus thunderbolt, it would be ignited quickly and burned out in a moment. But there were more than 1,000,000 lotuses floating in the sky. When these 10,000 lights were fired, the Buddha's light wave and the lotus rain did not change at all. Long Long could only bite the bullet and activate the Eastern Light Pure Glazed lamp again to shoot the light into the sky. He picked up the 7 treasures body glazed branch and activated his true essence into it. He saw a burst of Buddha's light enveloping himself, and his mood suddenly felt peaceful and tranquil, ethereal and beautiful. What's the use of this? Long Long wanted to smash the glazed branch, but seeing the Buddha's light calamity pressing down heavily, the situation was already critical, so he could only shout again in panic. A jinn, save me. Chapter 856. Simply invincible. The sky was full of Buddha light, and the sound of Sanskrit was singing. There was no place to escape. Facing such a magnificent and chilling scene, the Kanglong clan in charge of protecting the law in the distance were also discussing it, with a look of doubt and uncertainty. Especially the high-ranking Dragon clan elders, who were not long-lived and knowledgeable. But they had never seen such a terrifying scene of heavenly calamity. In addition, everyone whispered to each other and verified their guesses, which made them feel even more frightened. Isn't the power of this heavenly tribulation too much? One of the elders couldn't help but say, I've lived for almost 70,000 to 80,000 years, but I've never seen such a terrifying heavenly tribulation. It's not much less than the heavenly tribulation that some races' ancestors experienced when they ascended to heaven. Another elder said worriedly, if Long Long falls in the heavenly tribulation, let alone the loss of actual combat power, the blow to the morale of the tribe alone will be enough to give us a headache later. In my opinion, during the war, we shouldn't let so many people come to protect the law and watch the ceremony. It was the tribe leader King Boan who decided to let the tribe members come to watch, so soon an elder from the tribe leader's line spoke up and said, the scale of this heavenly tribulation is so large, who could have thought of it in advance? Besides, now is not the time to hold people accountable, but to think about how to help Long Long overcome the tribulation. Who can help with this tribulation? As long as you step into the range of the tribulation cloud, you will be struck back immediately. Okay, stop arguing. An elder received the message from the clan leader and said, the ancestor has already said that he has seen this heavenly tribulation scene, and Long Long has a high probability of passing this tribulation. Do you doubt the judgment of the ancestor, or what? Seeing that the other party brought up the ancestor, the elders naturally couldn't discuss it anymore. Everyone was relieved, although they were still a little skeptical in their hearts. As long as someone in history successfully passed the tribulation, it would be easy to say. The only thing to worry about is that it is a heavenly tribulation that has never been seen, or more accurately, the monks who have encountered it have all fallen, so it has never been heard of. Whether Long Long can survive, no one knows. However, Long Long, who was passing the tribulation at this time, was panicking. This lotus-shaped tribulation thunder, as Arjun said, is really difficult to restrain by non-Buddhist means. The acquired 5 elements of great extinction divine light swept over, but was faintly separated by the Buddha's light on it, and it had no effect at all. That is to say, this lotus tribulation thunder is not a thing of the 5 elements, and naturally it is not affected by the 5 elements divine light. The Tiasankchuanji talisman was thrown, but it only slowed down the calamity thunder, but did not completely seal and suppress it. Among all the methods, only the Chinsuming sword barely succeeded. The Chinki on it can quickly erode the Buddha's light, and one sword can break a calamity thunder. But the problem is that if you use pure physical attack methods, the efficiency of eliminating the calamity thunder is too slow. When the lotus calamity thunder explodes to Long Long, it is estimated that it will not be eliminated by 1%. But if you use the sword method of the Chinsuming sword, if it can be used, would you still be afraid of your mere infant formation calamity? Long Long couldn't help but curse in his heart. He thought he was well prepared, but he didn't expect that the heavenly Dao would find a loophole and seize the flaw that I didn't have a small account in the Buddhist power. I should have built as usual small account earlier. He urged the Dongfang Jing Lily lamp in vain to attack the calamity thunder that was falling from the sky, but the efficiency of this removal was like peeling an onion, layer by layer, and it couldn't hurt the foundation of the calamity at all. If this goes on, you will be blown to death by the heavenly calamity. Arjun, you should let someone else take care of your mission of mending the sky. Don't look for a ruthless host like me next time. Got it. Kumlan Mira suddenly said, where is your 7 treasures body glazed branch? What for? Long Long asked helplessly, but his speed of taking treasures was not slow at all. With a flip of his hands, a glazed branch appeared in his palms. It is also a treasure of Buddhism. Kumlan Mira reminded. It is indeed a treasure of Buddhism, but it has no use except to give people Buddha's light. Long Long said angrily, and gave himself another wave of Buddha's light. Silence, emptiness, peace, joy. The originally anxious mood quickly calmed down. Long Long suddenly had an epiphany. Wait, this 7 treasure body color glazed branch can project the Buddha's light onto other objects. He remembered that he had learned a secret method from Suming Jian before, called True Spirit Seal Sword Technique, which can forcibly attach the Taoism to the sword, so as to attack as the attribute of the flying sword itself. In other words, if the Buddha's light of the 7 treasure body color glazed branch is forcibly attached to many flying swords, these flying swords can be temporarily transformed into Buddhist flying swords. In this way, can't we attack the Lotus Tribulation Thunder? Long Long quickly took out a fire-type flying sword, imprinted the Buddha's light on it with the True Spirit Seal Sword Technique, and then threw it upwards, pinching the Dao formula at the same time. The Daoism on the sword was activated, and it seemed as if a flaming rose bloomed in the deep sea in an instant, and then it was quickly annihilated by the tide. However, Long Long's scan below was clear. After the Buddha's light was attached to this fire-type flying sword, it really had the attributes of Buddhism, and its sword Daoism killed 30 Lotus Tribulation Thunders in one breath. The flying swords provided by the Kanglong clan are basically those with a particularly wide range of sword Daoism. If it weren't for the limitation of the water environment, the effect would be even better. Finally finding a solution, Long Long was overjoyed, and quickly took out more flying swords, imprinted them with Buddha's light, and then fired them upwards. His technique was extremely accurate, and the angle and distance of the sword were impeccable. Every time he used the sword method, he could quickly break the most Lotus Thunder. The lotus burst in the seawater, and in an instant it illuminated the surrounding deep environment, and then dimmed again, but the thunder that was broken continued, causing the entire sea area to be as bright as day, as if tens of thousands of underwater searchlights were shining at the same time. Long Long took out the Dinghai Shinjin given by the Kanglong ancestor, and first attached Buddha's live to it, then wrapped it with the dragon's tail and began to stir it violently. Soon, a huge vortex appeared in the surrounding seawater. The brilliant Buddha's light was like a thread, swirling along the water, like a dazzling golden hurricane, sweeping away all the large areas of lotus thunder around. The golden hurricane even extended out of the water, and countless streams of light spun rapidly like silk threads, forming a huge vortex in the air, clearing all the lotus thunderbolts that had not entered the water. The aftermath even rushed straight into the sky, with the momentum to destroy the calamity clouds in one go. Now it was the turn of the Kanglong clan, who were watching from a distance, to be stunned and unable to close their mouths. After a moment, one of the elders suddenly had an idea and praised with emotion. "You are worthy at being the ancestor." Even with the power of the calamity before, who would have thought that Long Long could easily survive the disaster? Only the ancestor had a sharp eye and made a quick judgment. Now it seems that it is true. That's right. In order to ease the embarrassment and cover up their previous wrong judgments, the others praised the Kanglong ancestor. The discussion reached the ancestor, and the clan leader Qin Biawang smiled and said, "You are worthy at being the ancestor. No one can compare to this knowledge." "Nonsense, otherwise how can you be the ancestor?" the Kanglong ancestor said proudly, feeling lucky. "Oh my god, is my Dinghai Shinjin so powerful that it can break so many calamity clouds in one wave? Why don't I know this? Or is it that the strength of Long Long's true essence has reached an incredible level?" Chapter 857 Suman helps me. The Kanglong clan was in a state of peace and prosperity. Just as everyone was pessimistic about Long Long's tribulation, they were now more confident. Of course, they were pessimistic because the tribulation was indeed exaggerated. The tribulation cloud stretched for hundreds of miles without sunlight. Who had ever seen that? They were confident because the ancestor had spoken, and Long Long had swept away the tribulation thunder with a stick, so they immediately changed their attitude. However, Long Long, who was in the tribulation, was not as relaxed as everyone imagined. On the one hand, it was because the Dinghai Shinjin was too heavy, and it took a lot of true energy just to stir and wave the seawater. On the other hand, he suddenly realized that he seemed to have overexerted himself. You know, the tribulation is like a quarrel with your girlfriend. If you swallow your anger, you will be scolded. But if you try to fight back, you may be beaten. Sure enough, seeing the aftermath of the attack sweeping towards him, the tribulation cloud was also furious, and quickly spit out the next wave of tribulation thunder. The second wave of thunder was also golden, but it was not in the shape of a lotus, but a page of a book. It danced in the air, and it seemed as if someone were shouting loudly. Could this be the human religion? Long Long asked with difficulty. Yes. Kunlun Mirror gave a ruthless answer, it should be the divine thunder of the saints of the great chapter of morality. Long Long was so angry that he couldn't speak. First it was Buddhism, then it was the human religion. Can't there be a normal type of heavenly tribulation? I really haven't studied Confucianism at all. If it's the great morality chapter sage lightning thunder, it doesn't have to be dealt with by Confucianism. Suman Jian also said, the characteristic of this thunder is that the more morally corrupt the person who crosses the thunder is, the higher the intensity and lethality of the thunder. I see, haha. Long Long immediately breathed a sigh of relief. In that case, it seems that the lethality of this thunder to me should be pitifully small. Is there anything more morally noble than devoting oneself to save the world? Kunlun Mirror. Suman Jian. Hey. Don't be silent. Long Long shouted angrily. The moral thunder above has fallen rapidly, and its speed is several times faster than the previous Lotus Buddha lightning. It seems that it has learned from the previous slow falling speed that made Long Long find a way to crack it. Now it is pressing down with fierce and violent momentum. Long Long did not bother to argue with the broken mirror and smelly sword, and quickly activated the Nine-Bend Yellow River Formation and the Black Tortoise Formation. The gloomy aura instantly covered the layers of seawater above, and the tail of a dragon passed by, suddenly appeared next to the fastest moral thunderbolt, and then whipped it. The thunderbolt was instantly blown up, and a huge flame burst out from it, instantly evaporating the surrounding seawater, and even the thunderbolts within hundreds of feet were all exploded and annihilated. Long Long. This power, is it really not wrong? Looking at the dense thunderbolts above, Long Long couldn't help but fall into deep thinking and reflection. Don't think about it. Kunlun Mirror suddenly said, although you play a multifaceted spy to save the world, it is also an ironclad fact that you have deceived the feelings of many girls. This is called no hindrance to great deeds, but private morality is lacking. Well said. Sumin Jian cheered. Shut up. Long Long was immediately angry and stirred the Dinghai Shinjin again. So the big whirlpool under the sea began to rotate again. This time, there was no butter light attached, and it relied purely on the impact of the water flow to break the thunder, and the effect was also outstanding. In the whirlpool, countless thunders also exploded instantly. Long Long only felt the huge impact resistance from the Dinghai Divine Needle, which was almost unable to entangle it. He could only force more true energy to barely tie it to his tail. Because the power of the moral Divine Light Thunder was too strong, the true energy consumption of this method of using the Dinghai Divine Needle to sweep the mines was much greater than originally expected. Long Long could only change his strategy again, mainly using the double formation to consume, throwing out flying swords or magic weapons from time to time, and using small-scale Taoism to break the fish that slipped through the net. The power of the moral Divine Light Thunder was amazing, resulting in the end of the body and the disappearance of the Tao as long as one was missed. Ordinary cultivators under such high pressure cannot tolerate any mistakes. If they make a mistake once, they will be finished, but Long Long is not fighting alone after all. With the Kunlun Mirror to check for leaks and make up for them, and remind them in time, it is not difficult to deal with it. In that case, this wave of heavenly tribulation is actually very easy. Wow ha 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 ha, so. Master Sword Master, so. Sumin Jian suddenly shouted. Long Long took a closer look and found that the tail had been ignited with flames at some point. This flame is colorless and invisible, and only the surging water around it outlines the blazing shape of the flame. And although it burned on the tail, there was no pain or discomfort, so Long Long did not find it at the first time. Scan with divine sense for a while, damn. The tail was burned directly. Long Long quickly changed back to his true body and activated the purple gold dragon scale armor he was wearing. The dragon blood in his body suddenly boiled, and the heat flow continued to flow to the soles of his feet, suppressing the infire that was gradually burning up. He clasped his hands together again and displayed the acquired 5 elements of Great Extinction Divine Light, trying to suppress the infire with the way of 5 elements change. Although this yin fire is one of the 3 great heavenly tribulations, it has not escaped the way of the 5 elements, but is a combination of the true yin and the fire element. Therefore, when it is pressed by the 5 elements divine light, it immediately tends to be pushed downwards out of the body. Seeing this, Long Long was greatly inspired, and hurriedly urged the 5 elements divine light to work harder. Just as he was about to drive the infire out of his body in one go, he suddenly heard the Kunlun Mirror shouting, above. Guan's Yu, the tribulation thunder is coming. Long Long hurriedly looked up and scanned, only to find that during the stalemate between him and the infire, the morality divine light thunder above his head had taken the opportunity to descend, shortening the distance by a large distance. The power of this thunder is too terrifying, and being approached is no joke. Long Long hurriedly went to deal with the tribulation thunder above his head, but as a result of his distraction, no one urged the 5 elements divine light, and the infire that was originally about to be forced out of the body had a tendency to come back again. Long Long was so anxious that he cried out, Suming, help me. Sumin Jian was helpless to deal with such a master sword master, so he released the Qing key on the sword to help Long Yu resist the infire, so that Long Long could seize the time to deal with the thunder above his head. Although the infire was the true infire, it was not as strong as the Qing key in quantity, so it was quickly suppressed by Sumin Jian and the purple gold dragon scale armor, unable to move up. Sumin Jian suddenly felt something was wrong. Other flying swords were produced by the sword masters, and the flying swords worked hard. Why was it that I had to work here, and the energy consumption was also from my source? You say? It asked Kunlun Mirror hesitantly. I used the Qing key to help him. Chen Yunzui should compensate me afterwards, right? What do you think? Kunlun Mirror asked meaningfully. Chapter 858. Do you have any solution? Master Sword Master, if it weren't for me, you would be in complete trouble. Yeah. The infire is very annoying. The injuries caused by burning cannot be cured at all. You can only reconnect the broken limbs. Indeed. So you can survive this moral divine light catastrophe this time, all thanks to me, right? What have you been mumbling about since just now? Long Long said inexplicably, you are my natal sword. Isn't it your duty to serve the master sword master? Sumin sword. Sure enough, I was soft-hearted for a moment and got taken advantage of by him. The more it thought about it, the angrier it got, so it simply put away the chinky and stopped helping Long Long resist the fire. However, at this time, the moral divine light catastrophe above his head had been destroyed for the most part. Long Long calmly shifted his attention and quickly activated the 5 elements divine light to calmly force the fire out of his body. Then he looked at the seed layer above again, and continued to slowly clear the catastrophe thunder, and by the way, restore the true essence in his body. He overcame the tribulation so easily and the thunder was dissipated at a very stable speed. In the eyes of the Kang Long clan members, this immediately became the best proof that Long Long was wise and confident. So everyone began to boast about their foresight. I said that Long Long would have no problem in overcoming the tribulation, but you still didn't believe me. Who doesn't believe me? When Kang Long Patriarch said that this tribulation was nothing special, I agreed with him. Who said that this tribulation was exaggerated? I think it's true that it's exaggerated. It's just like a child's play, it's too simple to be exaggerated. This kind of tribulation, let alone a talent like Long Long, even my little grandson can easily overcome it. Wait, your little grandson has only been out of his shell for 3 years, right? Yes, I think the human form tribulation is more dangerous than this, seeing that the strength of this cave origin tribulation in the mouths of the dragons was about to decline to the level of not as strong as human form. It was unknown whether the tribulation heard the voices of the people or realized that it could not pose a threat to Long Long at this time. Soon, the tribulation cloud pressed down even lower, and spit out countless green tribulation thunders again. The scale of this tribulation thunder was indeed more numerous than the previous 2 times, and it seemed to have exceeded tens of millions. Although the lightning was green, its appearance was vague and uncertain, like a flying feather, and it fell down in a sprinkling manner. It seemed to move gently, but its speed was not slow at all. What kind of heavenly tribulation is this from the Taoist sect? Long Long asked with his eyes wide open. He had just expelled all the fire from his body, and before he had time to heal his wounds, this third wave of heavenly tribulation came immediately, clearly not intending to give him any breathing time. It seems to be the 9 heavens Kingway Featherfall and Heavenly Sound Tribulation. Kunlun Mirror said. Why are the names of these heavenly tribulations so long? Long Long asked casually. Because the types of heavenly tribulations are really complicated and diverse. If the names are short, they are easy to repeat. Su Ming Jian replied. 9 Heavens Kingway. Long Long pondered for a long time, wondering why it has the same name as my key refining technique 9 Heavens Kingway entering true words. Could it be from the same series? He decided to test it first, so he shot one of the flying swords into the air, and when he was about to get close to the tribulation thunder, he activated the sword method. A large amount of golden sword energy splashed out in all directions. Just when it touched the Featherfall tribulation, it suddenly seemed to solidify. Isn't that the Supreme Chuanji Spirit Talisman? Although there was no phantom of any talisman, Long Long was very familiar with that spell. At this time, the effect that delayed the golden sword light was the Supreme Chuanji Spirit Talisman. In the world of cultivation, there are very few Taoist methods that can suppress and seal, and there are even fewer countermeasures. In most cases, they adopt a strong attack to break the trick with force. But the problem is, who dares to break the trick with force against the heavenly tribulation? Mistake. Long Long finally realized this. The last time the Damjiri Tianjiri, the heavenly Dao showed an incomparable tyranny and toughness. What 5 elements tribulation, yin and yang tribulation, all of them were so numerous that they were numb and so powerful that they were outrageous. Therefore, he subconsciously thought that this time the infant formation heavenly tribulation would follow the same route of force suppression, so he prepared various means to improve endurance, but he did not expect that the heavenly Dao would change its strategy, the lotus thunder that must be restrained by Buddhist means, the moral thunder that is incredibly powerful, and now the feather-fallen thunder that even has its own sealing and suppression effect have all appeared. Long Long began to think nervously. Since the opponent has the ability to seal and suppress, then the relatively cheap means in the past, such as using a large number of flying swords and magic weapons to perish together with the tribulation thunder, are almost impossible, because they will be directly suppressed. To break through this suppression, the attack intensity must first reach a certain level, but in this way, the consumption of true essence will increase, which is not as cost-effective as using large-scale Taoist methods directly. He calculated for a moment, and decided to use the Dinghozenskin to break the tribulation thunder. Long Long rolled up the Dinghozenskin again, and then stirred the vortex vigorously, using a strong water flow to hit the tribulation thunder. However, these feather-fallen thunderbolts suddenly lit up under the impact of the water flow, but they were shaky and withstood the impact. Long Long's eyes widened immediately. Isn't this his universal pure sound small light technique? As the first derivative of the nine heavens pure and subtle entry true words, this technique can detoxify, heal, illuminate, maintain a constant body temperature, and remove many negative states. It can be said to be a panacea-like Taoist method. Now even the Thunderbolts can use this spell, which really makes Long Long feel a little overwhelmed. In this way, large-scale Taoist methods cannot be used, because the Taoist damage is spread evenly on each Thunderbolt, weakened by the opponent's Tai Shank Chuan Ji Ling Fu, and then restored by the universal pure sound small light technique, which instantly offsets it invisibly. In other words, the attack that falls on each Thunderbolt must have sufficient lethality. However, the same sentence. If you want to do this, it will consume too much true essence. Looking at the number of further fallen Thunderbolts, it has exceeded the level of tens of millions. If you don't calculate carefully, you will definitely not be able to support it. Long Long was helpless and could only speak humiliatingly again. Jin, Su Ming, in this situation, do you have any solution? Well, Su Ming Sword pondered and said, since the heavenly dough is so unreasonable, we can only overturn the table by force. Oh? Long Long's eyes lit up suddenly. Are you going to exert the full power of the Chin Sword Master? Of course not. Kumlin Jing said in a wife-like tone, I don't have so much money for you to squander. Although the Thunderbolts are falling one after another, when you use the Dinghai Shinjin to try to break them, the previous wave of Thunderbolts will not explode, but will be delayed in falling, right? I see. Long Long pondered, use this point to concentrate all the Thunderbolts together, and then use the power of the Chin Sword Master to wend them all at once. You are worthy of it, Jin, to have such a good idea. Use this point to concentrate all the Thunderbolts together. Kumlin Jing said seriously, then use your Tianu Divine Shuttle to directly escape from the explosion range, that's all. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Mundo Fanfic Novelers, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelers. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 859. Going straight to Wang Long. Use the Tianu Divine Shuttle. Long Long was a little disappointed. In his opinion, compared to turning into the Chin Sword Master to hit all the robbery thunders at once, this method of using the Tianu Divine Shuttle to avoid all the robbery thunders at once was not as refreshing and grand as before. Moreover, the invincibility time of the Tianu Divine Shuttle was too short. What if I didn't time it well? Wake up. Kunlun Mirror advised him, if the Chin Sword Master's affairs are exposed, you will be in trouble in this Donghuan realm. Indeed. Su Ming's sword also echoed, if my identity is exposed, the Sword Master will also be in trouble. What kind of repeater behavior is this? Long Long was a little speechless about it, but thinking of the unique significance of the Chin Su Ming sword to the Donghuan demon realm, after all, Long Yu's grandmother died because of it, he had to admit that it was better not to take this risk. If the Chin Su Ming sword cannot be used, then the only way to use the Kunlun Mirror is to use this method. After all, the single Yuluo is too resistant to beating. If it is to be solved one-on-one, it is unknown how much true energy will be consumed. He was not a fussy person. Once he made up his mind, he would act immediately. Dinghaisms stir. This time, it was not to defeat the thunder violently, but to use the pressure of the outer layer of the vortex on the inner layer to concentrate most of the feather thunder in the center of the vortex. Compared with the former, the latter consumes more true energy, so that Long Long secretly groaned in his heart. If he accidentally made a mistake later, he was afraid that he would die without a burial place. No matter what, the arrow is on the string, it has to be shot. The feather thunder above has been pressed into a straight line, like a huge pillar of light that reaches the sky, and the green lightning is circling and jumping on the pillar, crackling. The dragons in the distance were stunned, wondering what kind of heavenly tribulation is this. Ordinary thunders are all over the sky and press down heavily, like a storm, but this kind of heavenly tribulation that gathers into a pillar of light is the first time everyone has seen it. Moreover, because the light column concentrated too much tribulation thunder, it was as bright as the sun at this time. Even if the light column suddenly stared at the next second and crushed Long Long into a meat pie with a snap, it would not be surprising. In a palace on Jianmu Island, Long Hu looked at the tribulation cloud in the distance nervously, holding the edge of the bed tightly with both hands. The tribe asked her to stay on the island and not to watch Long Long's tribulation from a close distance. Actually, it was mainly because they were afraid that she would disturb Long Long, so she could only watch across the sea. At this distance, she couldn't even see the tribulation thunder clearly, and could only see a large dark cloud. But as Long concentrated the tribulation thunder into a light column, she could finally see the outline clearly. Just when the little fox was worried, she suddenly heard the sound of shouting and killing outside. Then, Jianmu under her body shook violently. What happened? Longhu hurriedly stood up in astonishment and grabbed the fox sword. Because she had agreed with Long that one day she would escape from here, Longhu always carried the sword with her even when she stayed in her room. Flying up from the window, Longhu first swooped down quickly to lower his altitude, then turned his head urgently and saw a group of strange monks attacking Jianmu. Their robes were all in the style of the Kanglong clan, but the magic and supernatural powers they used were mostly gold and earth. There was obviously no trace of the Dragon clan, but rather the style of Thongzhou and Shizhou. This is an enemy who has infiltrated Dongzhou. In Longhu's mind, his thoughts turned like lightning, and the Fox clan's agility began to play out. Historically, there has been no shortage of cases where monks were sent deep into the enemy's hinterland to sabotage during wars, but this strategy has proven to be of little value. The reason is simple. First of all, if you want to infiltrate the enemy's rear, you can't send out many troops. Once you expose your existence, you will immediately face the risk of being outnumbered. Secondly, monks have much fewer restrictions than mortals, so there is no such thing as cutting off food routes or supply lines. The only place that can be manipulated is important places such as resource warehouses and book storage places. If they are destroyed by spies who have infiltrated the enemy's rear, it will indeed be a serious loss. But everyone is not stupid. Such an important place will definitely be hidden tightly and will not reveal its existence to the outside world. Many small demon tribes are even guarded by their ancestors. No matter how many spies you send, they will not be able to do anything. Looking at the hostile monks around Jianmu at this time, it seems that they do not intend to attack Jianmu by force, but try to maintain a certain suppression posture to prevent the reinforcements from rushing out. Soon, they quickly split another wave of forces and rushed towards the large cloud of robbery in the distance. Not good. A thought flashed through Longhu's mind. Around the scene of the robbery, the elders also quickly received the news that Jianmu was attacked. With the speed of the monks coming and going without a trace, it is unrealistic to completely prevent infiltration at the border of Dongzhou, but the other party sent so many people to attack the clan of the Kanglong clan, which still made the elders quite annoyed. It was humiliating to be visited by someone to make trouble. After confirming that the key places were not lost, Qin Biawang ordered to organize troops and began to encircle and annihilate the enemy. We can't annihilate them. Dragon Fox suddenly rushed in from outside. Fortunately, she was smart and sharp, and figured out the trick in advance, so she rushed here before those cultivators, and quickly said to Qin Biawang and the elders, "Their target is Long." As soon as these words came out, the Kanglong people were struck by lightning, and suddenly realized. No one else is allowed to interfere with the tribulation of any cultivator, because once someone breaks into the tribulation scene, the intensity of the tribulation will increase according to the strength of the intruder, and the result will probably be that the tribulation and the intruder will perish together. Considering this point, generally no one will disturb others from tribulation, but what if the tribulation is worth killing? For big clans like Colin and White Tiger, it is very simple to train a few dead soldiers. Don't surround. Qin Biawang quickly retracted the order and changed it to intercept. Stop them from approaching the site of the tribulation at all costs. Encirclement means deploying troops in all directions to cut off all the opponent's routes, while interception only means blocking one direction, and the success rate is definitely much higher than the former. But the facts soon verified Longhu's judgment. The front line soon reported that this group of monks flew too fast, and even if they were attacked, they would not stay to fight, and their side did not have time to set up the formation, so they could not keep them all. Waste. Qin Biawang also knew that the other side must have specially selected a group of monks who were good at assault, but he still couldn't help but feel annoyed by the incompetence of his men, so he said to the elders, Long's tribulation cannot fail, now only you can do it. Of course. The elders agreed one after another. So the high-level monks of the Kanglong clan went out in full force, ready to intercept the death troops rushing towards this side. Long, who was in the middle of the tribulation, was still unaware of what was happening. He just took a pill given by Shio, felt the speed of his true essence recovering, and asked Kunlun Mirror, "How are my tribulation thunders gathering?" "Not very good." Kunlun Mirror said, "It seems there is a disturbance outside." "What disturbance?" Long asked. Kunlun Mirror was silent for a moment, and then said, There is a wave of hostile cultivators, half unicorn and half white tiger, rushing towards this side at full speed. Fuck. Even though Long Long was calm, he couldn't help but swear at this moment, what is the intelligence department of the Kanglong clan doing? Even the capital can be invaded by them. Chapter 860. Burying Little White Dragon Alive. According to Long Long's standards, even the old nest can be breached. I think the intelligence department of Dongzhou needs to be cleaned up. Kill those guys who neglect their duties and do nothing. However, if you think about it carefully, this world of cultivation and immortality does have all kinds of strange and mysterious methods that you have never heard of. For example, the Kunlun mirrors, mirror flowers and water moons, and the time-space shuttle technique. Who would have thought that there would be such a magical spell? That's why Long Long can open a small account everywhere and mix into major forces without being discovered. It's not that the major forces are short-sighted, but they really can't think of reloading. On the other hand, it's not surprising that the Kulin White Tiger Alliance has some means to hide from the Dragon Clan's reconnaissance defense line on the border of Dongzhou. As for blaming the Dragon Clan for not being prepared, it's actually a bit too harsh. After all, according to normal people's thinking, if others are struck by lightning there, I will definitely run away, instead of going over to be struck with him. I can only blame myself for underestimating my importance and the White Tiger God's determination to kill me. Long Long sighed for a moment, and found that he couldn't spare any effort to deal with these dead soldiers. After all, there were still a bunch of thunders gathering above their heads. Outside, under the leadership of the clan leader Qin Bio Wang, the elders also tried their best to stop the advance of the dead soldiers at all costs. The one who rushed to the front was naturally the Kanglong ancestor, who had already revealed his true form and roared a huge and furious dragon in the distance. The immortal level dragon power fixed some of the dead soldiers, but more of them quickly and skillfully escaped from the coverage of the dragon power before the dragon power descended. Obviously, someone collected the information of the dragon power of the Kanglong ancestor, calculated the attack range of its dragon power, and then conducted pre-drills for these dead soldiers. As the Kanglong ancestor took action, the remaining dead soldiers knew that the situation was not good, and the fur on their bodies was shining with blood, as if they had launched some kind of evil secret method that damaged their origin and broke through their cultivation, and their flying speed instantly increased a lot. They rushed to the coverage of the robbery cloud at full speed. The Dragon Clan also opened fire at full power, and the Blue Dragon Patriarch was even more powerful. With every move, countless dark blue lights were released, and the monks who were hit immediately exploded without a moment's breath, just like using a fly swatter to hit a fly. However, there were too many flies, and even if the ancestor could kill them in seconds, he couldn't clear all of them in an instant. After realizing this, the Blue Dragon Patriarch had to change his strategy and stopped killing these flies. Instead, he pulled out a light curtain at the border of the robbery cloud to block the advance of these flies. The fastest dead warrior shook off the attacks of the other dragon monks and plunged into the light curtain. Then his body exploded and disappeared without a trace. The dragon elders looked up and saw that there was nothing unusual about the robbery cloud. Knowing that the dead warrior was killed by the ancestor instead of disappearing through the light curtain, they immediately breathed a sigh of relief. The next second, the robbery cloud sank again, spitting out countless robbery thunders. This is impossible. The old ancestor of Kanglong roared. However, no one paid attention to him. Everyone stared at the robbery thunder above in amazement and quickly split into two groups. One group was Linglong at the bottom of the deep sea, and the other group rushed to the border of the robbery cloud, but on the other side opposite to the position of the Dragon Clan and others. So everyone immediately realized. The White Tiger God General split his troops into two groups. One group attacked from the front openly, and even pretended to hit Jian Mu, but the dinosaur clan could not find it. The other group went around the border of the robbery cloud, taking advantage of the Dragon Clan's attention on the front battlefield, secretly went around to the back and entered the range of the heavenly robbery. Then they were beaten into slack in an instant. The heavenly robbery of Linglong was extremely powerful, and even he himself was tortured. These dead soldiers did not have the Ding Hai Shen, the five elements divine light, and the Kunlun Mirror's human sword, so they could not survive a few breaths under the heavenly robbery, and soon they were directly shattered. However, the number of thunderbolts on Linglong's side also increased greatly. They quickly merged with the thunderbolts that were originally accumulated by pressure along the center of the vortex stirred by Ding Hai Shen, and soon exceeded the critical point of the vortex pressure, and smashed down towards Linglong's position. A huge shockwave exploded from the bottom of the sea in all directions, forming a tsunami that was about to reach 1,000 feet high. The Kanglong Patriarch had to quickly reinforce the barrier. The defensive spells that were originally used to prevent the dead from breaking into the Heavenly Tribulation were now used to resist the shockwaves inside the Heavenly Tribulation. Otherwise, even Jin Mushanda would be destroyed by the tsunami. The elders of the Dragon clan also cast spells in a hurry to resist. Among the people who were defending in place, a figure suddenly rushed out and rushed straight into the Heavenly Tribulation. It was Long Hu. Seeing that she was about to hit the barrier head-on and die, the Kanglong Patriarch hurriedly opened a small hole in the barrier and let her rush into the Heavenly Tribulation tsunami. Dragon Fox rushed forward with her sword, and was hit by the shock wave. She was wet but not hurt much. After all, the strongest wave had been eaten by Long Long, and she was small, so the pressure she endured was not that great. Dragon Fox used all her strength to drive her true essence and rushed towards the center of the Heavenly Tribulation. She saw that the tribulation clouds in the sky had begun to slowly dissipate. There are two situations when the tribulation clouds dissipate. One is that the time is up and the Heavenly Tribulation naturally fades away. The other is that the tribulation failed and fell, and the Heavenly Tribulation has already retired. Dragon Fox naturally hoped that it was the former, but she couldn't help but fear the latter, so she went against the current, rushed into the sea, and dived quickly. More shockwaves passed over her head, and Long Long gritted her teeth and resisted the pressure and rushed, finally reaching the edge of the giant stomach abyss. However, what appeared in front of her at this time was not the narrow crack of the giant stomach abyss, but a huge submarine basin. The diameter of this submarine basin was dozens of miles, and the center was sunken like a ball. It was obviously changed by some extremely large-scale explosion. Long Long! Long Yu screamed shrilly, Long Long! However, her voice could not be heard at all in the seabed, and only a bunch of gurgling bubbles were produced. The seawater around her eyes suddenly became a little hot, and Long Yu slowly landed in the center of the basin, with sand under her feet, or rather, soil that had been completely melted by the Heavenly Tribulation. She didn't believe that Long Long would fall, he had promised me. Long Yu sat down on the sand. Her expression was haggard and hesitant, her eyes blankly scanning the surroundings, her big tail drooping weakly beside her, swinging a few times from time to time. Suddenly, a hand grabbed her tail. Long was startled for a moment, but was soon replaced by surprise, and hurriedly used her claws to dig out the person buried underneath. Cough cough cough. Long Long spit out the sand in his mouth, his face full of bad luck. At the last moment, just as he was about to use the Tianyu Divine Shuttle to avoid the bombing of the Heavenly Tribulation, the crowing suddenly came unexpectedly, as if he was going to compete with the robbery thunder for the head. If it weren't for the reminder from Kunlun Mirror, Long Long would have almost forgotten the existence of the Nine. It was really silent and hard to guard against as rumored. Because of the attack of the Nine, he had to deal with it first. Because of this delay, he was a little late in using the Tianyu Divine Shuttle, causing several thunderbolts to explode in advance. Fortunately, a double formation was set up in advance, and the tail of the dragon appeared in time, splitting and exploding the thunderbolt without explanation. Long Long quickly transformed the dragon into a human body to avoid the most powerful shockwave of the thunderbolt, but was pressed directly into the soil by the aftermath. Taking advantage of this short moment, the Tianyu Divine Shuttle was finally activated. The VIP2 group was detonated because someone posted a picture that was too large. Please add the book friends back to the group and find the administrator to verify the fan value. Thank you everyone. Don't ask me what picture exploded, I don't know, I didn't see it, I forgot. Chapter 861. Fight. Buried under the soil by the shock wave, the thunder would certainly not let Long Long go. They seemed to have opened their eyes of perspective and continued to rush towards Long Long stubbornly. Fortunately, Long Long had already found time to use the Tianyu Divine Shuttle and quickly turned on the invincible state. In just a few breaths, he saw the Nine Heavens Kingway Featherfall and Divine Sound Thunder, exploding brilliantly around him. The green light was like a waterfall, stretching for thousands of miles. The soil under his feet melted instantly under the high heat, then vaporized, and then was stirred into turbulence by the shock wave, violently sweeping everything around. Long Long was terrified, thinking that if there was no Tianyu Divine Shuttle, I would definitely not be able to survive this infant formation Heavenly Tribulation. The featherfall and thunder was gathered into a ball, so it came and went quickly. When Long Long got out of the state of Tianyu Divine Shuttle, he found that he was surrounded by scorching high-temperature steam. He quickly activated the 5 elements Divine Light to protect himself. He then activated the purple gold dragon scales to activate the dragon blood to fight against the steam that burnt his body, and finally took the pills given by Shio, and finally managed to stabilize his injuries. When he survived the high temperature damage, he saw that the steam around him had condensed into sand again, burying himself in the thick soil. So Long could only separate and struggle. He wanted to break out of the soil immediately, but he was also worried that there was still high temperature residue outside the soil, so he tentatively stretched out a hand and grabbed something furry. Then, someone dug himself out of the sand. The dragon fox hugged him and cried and laughed at first, then dived into his arms, buried his head and refused to show up. Long looked at the mess around him, and his heart was filled with emotion. The catastrophe had just passed, and there was still environmental damage around, so no one in the tribe dared to approach this place. In other words, the little fox must have been very anxious, so he rushed in to find him regardless of anything. With such a beautiful woman who is willing to risk her life for you, what else can you ask for? Of course, I'm not saying that junior sisters you, senior sister Am, Miss She and Witch Jing are not good, but today the little fox will get an extra 100 points, and I'm just talking about the facts. Why are you crying? Long held up the little face of the dragon fox with tears in her eyes and asked with a smile, didn't I say that I will successfully overcome the tribulation and come back to find you? Woo! The dragon fox choked and couldn't speak, but just used her big tail to whip him hard. Okay. Long held her tail down, but only saw a gust of fragrant wind blowing. Her mouth was blocked by the dragon fox. In the distance, the elders of the dragon clan were rushing over quickly, wanting to confirm whether Long was still alive. The old ancestor Kang Long had the farthest spiritual consciousness, and quickly scanned the two people who were hugging each other, and immediately announced loudly, Long is fine. He has successfully overcome the tribulation. The elders cheered. Don't go over there yet. Patriarch Kang Long continued, let them rest for a while. The cheers of the elders stopped abruptly, thinking that since everything was fine, why couldn't we confirm it with our own eyes? Only Shira was thoughtful, as if she had guessed something. Everyone waited outside for a long time, and Patriarch Kang Long finally couldn't sit still anymore, and winked at Qin Bi Wang. Qin Bi Wang immediately understood, and turned around and winked at the elders beside him. The elders also understood immediately, and quickly flew back to Jianmu Island on their swords. Not long after, Qin Yi hurried over in a panic. After knowing that Long was going to survive the catastrophe, the little female dragon could only pray silently. But later, Jianmu Island was attacked, and she was ordered by the elders to move away and accept the key protection of the tribe. For a while, she didn't think of the enemy's real purpose. As a result, it turned out that Long Hu not only guessed that the enemy's target was Long, but also broke into the scene of the catastrophe to save him. In normal times, it was something Qin Yi didn't even dare to think about. Because of this, she also knew how terrible a girl who was willing to risk her life could be to a man, so she immediately rushed over to interrupt. Long. Qin Yi called out in panic from a distance, are you okay? Long and Long Hu separated quickly. When Qin Yi arrived at the scene, he saw Long standing there calmly, smiling. What can happen to me? A mere cave primordial tribulation can't hurt me at all. Long Hu smiled and said nothing beside him, his mind full of the image of him being pulled out of the sand by him, covered in dust. The two were interrupted by Qin Yi, and the Kang Long patriarch here also breathed a sigh of relief, waved his hand and said, okay, let's go and see Long's situation. So the elders set off, and the Kang Long patriarch continued to scan with his spiritual sense, only to see Qin Yi also threw himself into Long's arms, crying and putting his lips close to his. The Kang Long patriarch staggered, and suddenly felt absurd as if he had invited a wolf into the house. When the elders arrived at the scene, they were first surprised by the huge seabed basin. It is very common for a natural disaster to destroy the terrain at the scene, but it is unheard of to destroy it to such an exaggerated extent. Everyone is secretly estimating how likely it is that their children will survive if they encounter such a natural disaster. Thinking carefully, the intensity of this natural disaster is too abnormal. It must be because the White Tiger God ordered the dead soldiers to break into the scene of the disaster. Then, I thought that Long could survive such a perverted natural disaster. He is worthy at being the blood of that person. Then, the elders saw Long being hugged by the two girls and tearing his face hard. This is not very similar to that person. That person is extremely loyal and can confront the 5 major demon tribes for his wife. It's great that Long is not injured. Qin Yi said with a smile. Yes, I miss you, Sister Qin Yi. Long Hu also said with a fake smile. Sister is too anxious this time. Qin Yi continued, although confirming Long's condition is indeed crucial, if he is swept up by the aftermath of the catastrophe and injured, won't Long and I feel bad? Long wanted to refute, but heard the ancestor Can Long say, "Yes, Long, you were too anxious this time. If I hadn't opened the barrier, you would have almost lost your life." Long hurried out and said. Long rushed in because he was worried about me. "Please don't punish me, ancestor." "Punish?" The ancestor Can Long laughed. "Your promotion and breakthrough to the Dongyuan realm is a happy day for the Can Long clan. How could I, the ancestor, spoil everyone's fun? To celebrate Long becoming the Demon King, the clan should hold a ceremony." He turned to Qin Biowang and said, and gave instructions personally, "It should be a big, special, and focused event." "Understood." Qin Biowang nodded and said, "Should we invite other demon clans to watch the ceremony?" "Of course we have to invite them." Patriarch Can Long said without hesitation, "Don't leave out any of the other 4 demon tribes. Send invitations to everyone in Dongzhou. For those outside Dongzhou, discuss it with the elders. Also," he sneered unkindly, "send an invitation to Patriarch Bear in my name." Chapter 862. Many favors. Hot Long of the Can Long clan broke through and was promoted to the Kavyuan realm Demon King. This news quickly spread throughout the war-torn Donghuan realm, and everyone was shocked by the news. Since when did even the news of being promoted to a Demon King be spread as heavy news? Since the base number of demons is much larger than that of humans, there are several news of being promoted to Demon Kings every year. The number of the 5 major demon clans and other clans is basically half and half, and there are also many small fish in it, that is, the noble waste who is useless except for the high bloodliner rank, and even fights with the transformation realm. Because of this, everyone doesn't care much about Demon Kings, and usually hears this news as "Oh, then what?" Then the Can Long clan sent out invitations and held a banquet for guests, which made many forces in the Donghuan realm a little confused. Is this Long very strong? Now Long has a certain reputation within the Can Long and Thunao clans. At least many people have heard of this name, but among the Horn clan, Kung clan and Mao clan, he is still unknown. This wave of publicity by the Can Long clan undoubtedly greatly raised Long's reputation. In the imperial capital, Yan was sitting in his study working, when Qiangzhu suddenly pushed the door open and said unhappily, "Master, this time, you took advantage of Long's tribulation to send someone to assassinate him, which is unjust. You treat your subordinates' lives as nothing, which is unkind. The assassination failed and was laughed at by the world, which is unwise. I cannot agree with such an unkind, unjust and unwise act." Yan was silent for a moment, put the pen aside, and said, "If there is something unkind, unjust and unwise, but you have to do it, what will you do? With Master's current strength and status, what can he have to do?" Qiangzhu widened her eyes. "For example, you are the only one who knows that Long will be a major concern for our Culling and White Tiger clans." Lu Yan said casually, "Will you kill him in the bud, or will you risk the extinction of your clan and wait for him to grow up before making plans?" Qiangzhu was struck by lightning and stood there in shock, with a horrified expression of "I don't accept cats and cats." But she quickly reacted and asked calmly, Long is a major concern for our clan." "Who said that?" "If Master thinks so, please show enough evidence first." Ha ha ha. Lu Yan laughed happily. "It seems that you have indeed grown a lot during this period of time. At least you know not to answer such hypothetical questions. If you are willing to answer hypothetical questions, it is tantamount to giving priority to others." Qiangzhu replied, "Priority is a must-win for military strategists, so I want to ask first. Why did Master send someone to assassinate Long?" "I didn't do that." Lu Yan replied. "Didn't Master do it?" Qiangzhu asked in astonishment. "Even if Long can achieve great things in the future, who can predict what will happen in the future?" Yan smiled indifferently. "He may not be our enemy in the future, so why should I rashly assassinate him? Since it wasn't Master who did it." Qiangzhu blushed and quickly changed the subject and asked, "Who did it?" "And now the whole Donghuan realm believes that this was Master's plan. Why didn't Master come out and say a few words?" Qiangzhu asked in confusion. Seeing that Yan was silent again, she gradually thought of a possibility and her face turned pale. "Could it be, don't worry about this matter?" Yan said in a deep voice, "The clan will naturally deal with it, and you don't need to worry too much. I'll go find her." Qiangzhu said coldly and slammed the door. On the other side, as Dongzhou Can Long began to hold a celebration, all parties chose to cease fire. Although Donghuan realm now has the idea of being brave in war, it has not yet reached the point of using every possible means. After all, everyone's main occupation is nobles and lords. The strict class system and the feudal etiquette deeply rooted in people's hearts are what they rely on to rule a state. If the whole Donghuan realm does whatever it takes to win, the first to suffer the loss of interests are the 5 major demon clans. Therefore, since Dongzhou has started to make such a grand ceremony, the other 4 clans have also prepared gifts and sent envoys to watch the ceremony. The gifts from Nanzhou and Bizhou are the most grand, and the 2 ancestors also came in person with their descendants. The appearance of the Zhithunao ancestor is a graceful old woman, who was personally supported by Feng Yan. You can see that her eyebrows and eyes are quite similar to Feng Yan, but I don't know why she deliberately keeps the appearance of an old man. With this person's cultivation level, it is effortless to stay young forever. This is Long Long, right? Zhithunao ancestor said with a smile, he is really a good child. Long Long. I see, the reason why you deliberately pretend to be old is because you like this feeling of I'm an elder, right? Feng Yan. The Zhithunao patriarch turned around again. Where is the dragon fox you mentioned? Show me. Feng Yan winked at Long Long, asking him to quickly bring the dragon fox out to see the elders. Long Long pretended not to understand, and saw the Chuan patriarch slowly coming accompanied by Yi Linga. Linga, did you see that? The Chuan patriarch pointed at him and said, he was promoted to the Dongyuan realm without making any noise. Even the talented and gifted White Tiger God General back then, could he have such a terrifying promotion speed? Could he have such a scheming mind that he didn't show anything? Gilinga nodded in agreement. Don't put too much pressure on young people. The Zhithunao patriarch waved his hand and said with a smile, isn't it a good thing to be promoted quickly? Don't ask so many questions. She blocked the Chuan patriarch's temptation, and Feng Yan threw a wink at Long Long, meaning look at how much my ancestor protects you. Long Long was grinning on the side, and saw that the old ancestor Kang Long brought Qinyi out of Jianmu, and greeted with a smile. How long have we not seen each other? It's been a long time. The old ancestor Zhithunao said bluntly, you Dragon Clan adopted 2 good children, but you didn't inform me, an old woman. Isn't this notifying you? The old ancestor Kang Long quickly winked and asked Long Long to be the host and take the younger generation out to play. They, a group of old people, have something to discuss. Long Long was helpless. He didn't dare to pretend that he didn't understand what this person meant. He could only greet him and leave with Feng Yan, Gilinga and Qinyi. As soon as he turned to the yard, he heard Gilinga ask impatiently, so what does the Feather Clan mean? That depends on the ancestor. Feng Yan replied leisurely. Everyone knows that your ancestors like to hide things and let their subordinates guess what they're thinking. Gilinga said impatiently, Feng Yan, don't think I don't know what you were thinking. You are trying to prevent the Dragon Clan and our Black Turtle from forming an alliance, right? Ah. Feng Yan covered her mouth and acted surprised. You misunderstood me. How could I have the ability to interfere with the judgment of the Dragon Clan? You spread rumors that our ancestors intended to marry me to Long Long. Gilinga took out her trump card. So you want to clarify that it was a rumor? Feng Yan asked in surprise. Long Long. Chapter 863. Dragon's Dragon. Long Long was not surprised by the Black Turtle Clan's intention. I heard that the Kung Clan performed extremely poorly in the war with Shizhou, which led to the White Tiger Clan's focus on attacking Nanzhou. Of course, it is unlikely that the Black Turtle Clan will deliberately show weakness, because their face in Bizhou was really about to be lost, so now they have to find that Kang Long Clan for help in the name of watching the ceremony. However, is it wrong to set your sights on me? You also know that the Kang Long Clan will never let my blood flow out. If I have a child with Gilinga, and the child shows the characteristics of the Black Turtle bloodliner, wouldn't it be giving a genius to the Black Turtle Clan for nothing? If there was still a little possibility before, for example, the Black Turtle Clan offered an irresistible price, then after this perfect tribulation, I'm afraid there is no possibility at all. Who would be so stupid as to give a genius cultivator who broke through the Kavyuan realm so quickly and has a strong fighting power to the other party for a little bit of profit? Long Long was thinking a little boredly, while Qinyi beside him was already horrified. Needless to say, Long Lu is a childhood sweetheart with invincible combat power. If Gilinga really marries me, can I not even keep my second place in the family? She was upset when she heard Long Long say, marriage is an important matter that we cannot decide on our own. We can only follow the will of the clan. That's what I'm saying. Gilinga said angrily, what's the point of you saying this here? Hilly. Feng Yan smiled slightly, turned to Long Long and said, if the Black Turtle Clan really wants to seek an alliance with the Dragon Clan, they will definitely start with you. Be careful, don't let beauty delay your business. From what your highness said, it seems that you are worried that the Dragon Clan will turn to form an alliance with Bizhao. Long Long asked in surprise. Of course. Fen Yan said seriously, Northern Province cannot lose, but if we win against Central Province and take the biggest fruits of victory, it will not be of any benefit to us. Gilinga was so angry that her teeth itched, but she just sneered. It is because of our intrigue and calculus that we can sit back and watch the Kalin White Tiger grow to this point. Stop arguing, both of you. Qin persuaded from the side, at least we are still in alliance now, right? Fen Yan and Gilinga ignored her. After all, although the three tribes are in alliance on the surface, they actually have their own interests. It is too naive to say such things. The Black Turtle tribe is a staunch anti-Central Province faction because they support Prince Kalin. The Kanglong tribe is a speculative faction because their interests are not involved much, and they will vote for whichever side has interests. The situation of the Southern Province Thu now is even more complicated. There are both anti-Central Province factions that have been nurtured by the long-term war with Kalin, and speculative factions like Fen Yan who are not blinded by hatred and only calculate the pros and cons. The quarrel between Fen Yan and Gilinga just reflects the biggest disagreement within the three-tribe alliance. It depends on their respective interests and positions, and it is not so easy to eliminate. What an ugly scene. Qiangzhu's voice came from a distance. Just arrived here, I saw you all with your own ulterior motives, it's really disgusting. Why are you here? Long Long asked in surprise. Qiangzhu stared at him silently without saying a word. The kitten stared. After a long while, she sneered and said, I'm one of the envoys of Thongzhou this time. I see. Fen Yan said with a smile, it seems that the White Tiger God General dare not show his face, so he sent his little apprentice here. By the way, reevaluate your threat. Qiangzhu said coldly, now it seems that there is no need to worry at all. I feel sad for your father. Gilinga said suddenly. The lethality of this sentence was so strong that Qiangzhu's face changed instantly. Obviously, she was not completely ignorant of her bloodline. But she soon calmed down and said indifferently, Qi Kaoseng is the son of my father and is also the legitimate heir. Qi Wuheng is just a puppet and has no chance of ascending to the throne. From some perspectives, I agree with what Her Highness Fen Yan said. If Bizhao wins this war, it will not be a good thing for the other four clans. Fen Yan laughed, not knowing whether it was sarcasm or something else, and said, if I have to choose one of the two, I would rather see Bizhao win than see Shizhao dominate. Then we'll see. Qiangzhu seemed to have lost interest in continuing to talk nonsense, and just turned to Long Long and said, I have something to say to you alone. What for? Before Long Long could answer, the other three shouted in unison. What does it have to do with you? Qiangzhu asked in astonishment. Long Long, don't be fooled by beauty, think about her identity. Gilinga said quickly. Long Long, no matter what she wants to say to you, there must be the White Tiger God behind it. Fen Yan said slowly, don't be fooled. Long Long, if you do something to let us down, I will tell Sister Long Hu. Qin Yi also threatened. Long Long, don't talk as if the other party is confessing to me, okay? After confirming that Qiangzhu's face was normal, no shyness, no admiration, Long Long was more and more sure that the other party was not looking for him to discuss any marriage. Besides, the White Tiger God should also know that the Kanglong clan would never allow himself to marry outsiders. Don't worry. He comforted everyone and said, as the host, if the guests dare not accept the invitation, won't they laugh at me? After all, this is the territory of Dongzhou. So the three of them were speechless. Indeed, on your own territory, if the other party wants to talk to you privately, but you dare not respond, it is really unreasonable. It feels like you were afraid of them. Seeing that no one was trying to stop him, Long Long waved his hand and followed Qiangzhu to the side hall. Qiangzhu closed the door and said seriously, what I am going to say next is what Master asked me to tell you personally, so listen carefully. Oh? Long Long said casually, what advice does White Tiger God have? Master said that the last assassination was not ordered by him. Qiangzhu stared at Long Long, with a cat-like squinting in his eyes. Then what? Master also said that if Long Long is from the Kanglong clan, he may not have the possibility of cooperating with us in the future, but Long Long from the Jialong clan may not be. Long Long. Damn, he is worthy at being the White Tiger God. Although he had never talked to the other party face to face, the other party almost instantly saw through the biggest contradiction between Long Long and the Kanglong clan, and found the most suitable entry point. Long Long's bloodline is not Kanglong, but Jialong. Chapter 864. Qiolu, is Long Long really close to the Kanglong clan? Of course not. The fact that he is destined to become a breeding machine is completely unacceptable to Long Long, not to mention that his true body is human after all, and it is only a matter of time before he leaves the East Empire realm. The White Tiger God General could not have known that he was going to take Long Hu to be Ming Fanyan, but he probably noticed the clues from somewhere else, which made Long Long sigh that there are also capable people in the East Empire realm who cannot be underestimated. Since the White Tiger God General guessed this, didn't anyone in the Kanglong clan find that clues? Long Long thought with a gloomy face, and only heard Qiangzhu say again. Master said that if you are silent, then it is probably true. Let's not talk about the Kanglong matter first. If Bizhao was completely defeated by us, it will certainly be bad for the Kanglong clan, but it may not be good for the Jialong. That's all I have to say. After saying that, Qiangzhu raised her chin, as if to say, do you have any questions? Long Long. I hate this kind of charlatan who likes to predict other people's reactions the most. So you now consider yourself a member of the White Tiger clan? Long Long began to fight back. Qiangzhu's face froze immediately, and then he glared at him hatefully and said, none of your business. Why don't I care about this? Long Long laughed. If Qiangzhu from the Cunning clan said the above, my answer would be all dragons in the world are one family, regardless of Jialong or Kanglong. But if Qiangzhu from the White Tiger clan, what if Qiangzhu from the White Tiger clan? Qiangzhu frowned and asked. Ah, so you don't deny this, right? Long Long immediately showed a so that's it smile. If it's Qiangzhu from the White Tiger clan, then please tell the White Tiger God General. Qiangzhu was so angry that she clenched her teeth and made a humming sound in her throat after hearing the first half of his sentence, but after hearing the second half of his sentence, she could only suppress her anger and listen to what he wanted to tell her. Tell the White Tiger God General. Long Long said solemnly, it doesn't matter what he says. I don't have the habit of negotiating deals with enemies. Qiangzhu's face fell when she heard this, and she said angrily, I know. She turned around and was about to leave, but was stopped by Long Long again. Yingzhu, did the White Tiger God General say that if I choose to negotiate a deal with you, what will you say next? Don't call me so intimately. Qiangzhu was angry. What does it matter? It's just omitting the surname. Anyway, you and your father are not related by blood. Long Long hadn't finished speaking when he was hit on the leg by the other party's tail. This fur tribe seems to have the habit of hitting people with their tails, but the dragon fox's tail is both fluffy and furry, and it is usually more of a playful thing to hit him. Qiangzhu's tail is slender and tough. When it hit his calf, Long Long felt like he was whipped, but strangely, it didn't hurt much, probably because his physical strength was too high. I won't tell you. Qiangzhu gritted her teeth. Then I have it. Long Long laughed again. I thought the White Tiger God was really well prepared and could predict everything. I didn't expect that he would just list 1, 2, 3, and 4 and ask you to memorize them by rote. Qiangzhu wanted to refute, but seeing Long Long's arrogant and complacent look, she suddenly had an idea and said with a smile, Master said that if you choose to cooperate with us after I mentioned the dragon, it proves that you're just a person with a false reputation. But if you remain silent and then flatly refuse, it means, she deliberately prolonged her voice, and Long Long frowned and asked, what does it mean? It means that you were a big threat to us. Qiangzhu said in a grim tone, we need to get rid of you as soon as possible. Long Long was also shocked for a moment. It is true that he is already a Immortal Cultivator, but if he is stared at by an immortal and can't wait to get rid of him all day long, it will be very troublesome. But he was not a naive person, so he laughed and said, impossible. You made this up yourself, right? Qiangzhu was also shocked. The first sentence was indeed said by Lu Yan, but the part get rid of him as soon as possible was deliberately made up by her to scare Long Long. How could the other party see through it? Seeing Qiangzhu's panic, Long Long knew that his bluff was successful. He pretended to be profound and said leisurely, if the White Tiger God General really wanted to kill someone, why would he let his apprentice inform the other party in advance and let him prepare for it? It must be that I saw through your lie at a glance, otherwise if outsiders heard it, they would definitely laugh their heads off and say that the White Tiger God General was a bluffing person with a false reputation. Qiangzhu was ashamed and thought that she was wrong to ruin her master's reputation just for the sake of a moment's pleasure. Fortunately, Long Long was not the kind of person who liked to gossip, so he would not go out and talk nonsense everywhere. Yingzhu. Seeing that she was already in a state of confusion, Long Long said earnestly, whether you'll be named Qiolu in the future is not a trivial matter. The reason why the Cunning clan is willing to cooperate with the White Tiger clan now is simply because Kikyaosing ascended the throne as an illegitimate son, which is illegal, and your mother is needed to consolidate her prestige. But political prestige is something that the longer you were in office, the deeper it will be. As long as Kikyaosing does not make mistakes, he will sooner or later grow up to the point where he does not need your mother. Without this layer of interest connection, how will the Cunning ancestor treat you? Do I need to say more? Then how will you deal with yourself? Qiangzhu looked at him in a daze, speechless for a long time, and suddenly said, "Are you concerned about me?" Long. "No, I am trying to sow discord between your White Tiger and Cunning clans. How come I suddenly care about you? Are you sure there is nothing wrong with your brain?" "Don't worry too much, I know what's going on." Qiangzhu smiled miserably and said sadly, "The reason why my mother asked me to become a disciple of the master was to prepare a way out for me in advance." Long was speechless for a moment, thinking that no matter how arrogant and domineering Oya was, or how impulsive and brainless she was, at least she seemed to have fulfilled her responsibilities as a mother. So, political marriages without true love are not good. Long. Qiangzhu said faintly, "I also hope that one day, I can stand in front of you as Olyingzhu, not Qiangzhu. Although it's not possible now, I firmly believe that there will be such a day." At this point, the little tiger suddenly realized something, and hurriedly turned around, leaving only a trace of residual blush. "Well, I'm leaving. The master has told me that I have to send a gift to your dragon clan." After that, she ran away in a hurry. Long. "So, I can't decide my marriage, do you know what's going on?" Chapter 865. The history of the Jialong clan. Watching the little tiger leave, Long also felt a little emotional. Why do all of them think I'm interested in them? Of course, it doesn't seem strange if you think about it carefully. First of all, these girls are the darlings of their respective tribes, with pure blood, respected status, and everyone praises them. They must look down on the heroes in the world. Then when they meet someone like me who suppresses them in all aspects in terms of bloodline, talent, courage and knowledge, isn't it normal for them to fall in love with me? Is there such a possibility? Kumlan Mira suddenly said, "It's because their tribe is more optimistic about you, and they accept the tradition of family-arranged marriage, so they came here in advance to get close to you." "Of course it's impossible," Long said without hesitation, "because I, Long, am obviously not the kind of person who would use a beauty trap. If the family behind them is interested in me, they should deal with the Kanglong tribe instead of starting with me. Look." Kumlan Miram Suman said, "It's this shameless energy that makes me feel different every time." Long was too lazy to argue too much, just taking advantage of the time to take a break from his busy schedule to look inward again. The baby has formed. The Dongyuan realm of the demon clan, the body is the Dongyuan of the body. For example, in the Dantan of the Kanglong clan, there is a loach-sized Kanglong. At this time, staying in Longlong's body is a vivid, eel-sized Jialong. Of course, this is only a temporary change in form caused by Yinglong's blood. In fact, it should be the appearance of a human baby. Whether it is the form of a dragon or a human infant, its essence is similar, composed of extremely refined true essence, and it hosts the soul of the cultivator. In other words, if one day that body is suddenly on the verge of death, such as being drugged, tortured to death, or beheaded by a hatchet, the soul can also be hosted in the nascent soul and escape, so as not to die with the body. Of course, saving life is the biggest benefit of the nascent soul cultivator, but it is not the only benefit. As the origin of the cultivator, the nascent soul itself can do many things, such as driving magic weapons, flying swords, etc. alone, and its efficiency is naturally far better than that of low-level cultivators. As for the bonus in the body, consciousness, and true essence, there is no need to say more. However, what Long values more is not the improvement in strength, but the change in status. Whether it is the sect of the cultivation world or the demon clan of the Eastern Empire realm, the nascent soul cultivator is a well-deserved high-level person and a core member who can determine the direction of the sect's policy. On the other hand, union cultivators also need to recruit disciples for the sect. On the surface, it seems that the inner disciples who join the sect are supported by their teachers, but in fact, it is tacitly allowing union cultivators to cultivate their own power in the sect. With strength, status, and power, they are equivalent to the core members of the sect, and many secrets of the sect will be gradually revealed. At the time, I can start planning the Sky Repairing Stone. Sky Repairing Stone. After agreeing to Arjun's request and taking so many benefits from her, he has finally grown up and can give her some hope. Long Long walked forward while thinking, and when he stepped into the courtyard, he saw 4 girls arguing. Qilinga was furious, Fen Yan was sarcastic, Qingzhu was contemptuous and arrogant, and Qin Yi was trembling with fear. The different personalities of these people were fully reflected. Unless Long Long was confused, he would not go in and stir things up at this time. Before they discovered him, he quietly walked back the same way. As soon as he left the courtyard, he heard someone say, "Which one do you like?" "Master." Long Long said with a bitter face, "Please don't make fun of me. I'm not kidding." Xiao stared at the scene in the courtyard and said, "The wife's family will inevitably become a political helper for her husband. This is the tradition of the Eastern Empire realm. If you want to be stable, you can choose Qin Yi and Fen Yan. If you want to be aggressive, you can choose Qin Yi and Qilinga. The problem with Qingzhu is that her identity is not clear enough, and whether she is surnamed Qi or Lu, she is currently of no use to the Kanglong clan. Of course, there may be other wonderful uses in other aspects." At this point, Xiao paused meaningfully for a moment, turned around and left. Long Long immediately understood what she meant. Useless to the Kanglong clan, that is, useful to the Jialong clan. Following Xiao to a secret room inside Jianmu, Xiao took out a scroll, threw it to Long Long, and said, "I just wrote it this morning. You can only read it here. Burn it after reading it." Long Long immediately unfolded the scroll and read it eagerly. The scroll records the historical changes of the Jialong clan since Emperor Yinglong was trapped in the human world. As the Emperor brought bad news in the human world, the Jialong clan immediately fell into chaos, because Yinglong had no offspring at the time, only a pregnant wife. The situation at the time did not allow the Emperor's position to be vacant for too long, so the clan quickly pushed out a distant uncle of Emperor Yinglong. The new Emperor took over a very bad mess. In addition to Emperor Yinglong himself, a large number of elite monsters were also lost in the human world, so that various monsters joined forces to attack and demanded an answer from the Jialong clan, and even compensation. The Emperor judged that someone was behind the scenes, but at the time, the Jialong clan no longer had a top powerhouse who could suppress the world, so he decided to temporarily avoid the edge and negotiate compromises with various clans. The entire negotiation took about a year and a half, and ended with the Jialong clan offering a sky-high compensation. This incident allowed the Jialong clan to breathe in the short term, instead of being perceived by the world. However, this incident laid a serious hidden danger for the later East Empire realm. Everyone saw clearly the fact that the Jialong clan was no longer strong. The Jialong clan took the lead in launching an attack. Many dragons believed that this was a treaty that was a loss of power and humiliation to the clan, and the situation outside was also deteriorating. Soon the new emperor died in a secret assassination, and the imperial capital quickly fell into serious unrest. For a time, 3 people even claimed to compete for the throne. The emperor's eldest son fled the imperial capital overnight and went to his wife's family in the north for help. With the help of the cunning clan, he finally returned to the imperial capital, quelled the civil strife, and regained the throne. Seeing this, Long Long finally couldn't help laughing. No wonder the cunning ancestor hated Qi Huiheng, the cunning prince, so much that he would rather let Qi Qiaosan, the illegitimate son, take the throne, pinch his nose and cooperate with the queen mother Lu Yang, and never let Qi Huiheng set foot in the imperial capital. It seems that there have been precedents in history. According to the classics, the Jialong who regained the throne later had 3 children with his Kulin wife, and all of them were of Kulin descent. To put it in a good way, the children of Jialong descent probably died prematurely. To put it in a bad way, they might not be the emperor's children. Have you finished reading it? Xia was immediately displeased when she saw Long Long laughing. Not yet. Long Long's eyes continued to move downward. As for the latter part, the Kulin Empire came to power and purged the Jialong clan from which his father came. This continued for 3 generations, and in the end the entire imperial capital became the private property of the Kulin clan, and there was no trace of the Jialong clan anymore. Very boring content. You can almost predict the ending after reading the beginning. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Mundo Fanfic Novelers, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelers. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 866. The King Dog Shio. With the purge of the Kulin clan, the dragons in the imperial capital left Zhongzhou one after another and scattered all over the world. The place that most people went to was the ancestral land of the dragons, Beiming Fanyan. The second place was Dongzhou, where the Kanglong clan was located. In addition, there were also some who entered Nanzhao and Shizhou, but most of them gradually lost contact later. Seeing this, Long Long was about to continue reading, but found that there was no news below. Then what? He looked up at Shio curiously and asked, which dragon descendants are still in contact with us now? Shio, you just entered the Dongyuan realm and immediately regarded yourself as a dragon elder, right? Although she complained in her heart, she still answered calmly. The Qingqiu mountain lineage in Shizhou, the Da swamp lineage in Nanzhao, and the Pingyang mountain lineage in Dongzhou. What about Beiming Fanyan? Long Long asked. Beiming Fanyan, Shio was silent for a moment, and said, the Beiming Fanyan branch only contacts us when they think they need it. Oh. Long Long nodded in sudden realization, so the Jialongs on the Beiming Fanyan side think they are the main branch of the Jialong clan, and they treat us branches with a domineering attitude, like tools, summoning us when they need us, and sending us away when they don't, right? This time Shio was silent for even longer. Long Long, haven't you learned the meaning of euphemism? I understand. So Master, am I right? Long Long asked with a smile. Shio sighed deeply and said, the current Donghuan realm is too unfavorable to our Jialong clan. It is understandable that Beiming Fanyan is more cautious. Master, it can't be that they have always been the only ones who contact us one way, and we have no way to contact them at all. Long Long asked in disbelief. Shio felt a little embarrassed to speak, and only heard Long Long say, but Master, you are the elder of the Kanglong clan. Beiming Fanyan treats you so badly, aren't they afraid that we will tell Kanglong about their information? How could I do that? Shio said unhappily. But this doesn't prevent us from letting them think we want to do that, right? Long Long said earnestly. This time Shio was silent for a long time, and then slowly said, Long Long, you have to know that due to the sufferings that the Jialong clan has suffered for so many years, trust is extremely precious to us. Don't destroy this trust because of a momentary anger, do you understand? Long Long nodded and said, I understand, so Beiming Fanyan doesn't trust us at all, they just want to use us to achieve their goals. Shio. Although it is true, can't you not say it so bluntly? That's enough. Shio had to interrupt him and said, you're right, but don't say any more. If we and Beiming Fanyan can't reach a consensus at this stage, then one side must make concessions, otherwise it will only make the enemies happy. There must be some problems on Beiming Fanyan's side. Since they contracted us, they have been asking for money, materials, and intelligence, but they won't reveal what they are for or any other information. At this point, Shio suddenly lowered her voice and said, I suspect they may be fighting internally. Internal fighting? Long Long also pondered. From some perspectives, a closed society that has not been in contact with the outside world for more than 100,000 years is indeed prone to problems to some extent. The main contradiction is whether it should contact the outside world. As long as the number of people increases, there will definitely be dragons who want to contact the outside world, but judging from the current situation of Beiming Fanyan, this extrovert must have been brutally suppressed. Maybe it's just an internal fight between the extroverts and the conservatives. By the way, you can fight among yourselves, but please don't destroy the books and materials stored in the clan. My fox is counting on these materials to solve the problem of blood conflict once and for all. After thinking about it, Long Long decided to confirm it as soon as possible, so he asked Shio, what means and forms are used to communicate with Beiming Fanyan? Are there any records in the past? Shio pondered for a moment, then took out a scroll from her sleeve and handed it over. Long Long looked carefully and found that it was indeed written by Shio herself. The communication records with Beiming Fanyan over the past few hundred years are roughly as follows. Beiming Fanyan. 30 loads of moon crystals are needed, and the delivery will follow the old rules. Shio. Paid. Beiming Fanyan. 200 fire-flying swords are needed, and the sword types cannot be repeated. The delivery will follow the old rules. Shio. 200 fire-flying swords are no problem, but not repeating is a bit harsh. What do you want so many flying swords for? Shio. Paid. Beiming Fanyan. I need a transformation realm demon pill, a King Yuan seed of the feathered clan, and the delivery will follow the old rules. Shio. What do you want the King Yuan demon pill for? Shio. The King Yuan clan is a large clan of the feather clan. It is too risky to hunt down their transformation realm cultivators. If you don't explain the reason clearly, we can't take this risk. Shio. Are other demon pills from the feather clan not okay? Why must it be a King Yuan seed? Shio. Is there anything inconvenient to explain? Shio. Paid. Long Long. Master, your humble appearance makes me want to cry. Are you sure this is not a new form of online fraud? Ahem. Shio said awkwardly. In fact, the things they want are not much each time, and they are not difficult to get. It's just that they just open their mouths to ask for things, and they're unwilling to say anything else, which is also a headache for us. It's just that this is the only form of communication between us and Beiming Fanyan now. If we don't meet their requirements, this communication channel will be abandoned, and it will be more troublesome for us to contact them later. I see. Long Long said with a complicated expression. What does this follow the old rules mean? How does the master usually communicate with Beiming Fanyan and give them things? Through this formation diagram. Shio took out another scroll and spread it on the ground. Put the things on this formation diagram, and then as long as you activate the formation, you can transmit them. Of course, it can also be used to transmit jade slips. Long Long looked at the formation diagram carefully. This formation diagram is actually a magic weapon, equivalent to a simplified version of the Red Dust 100 Worlds diagram, which can transmit things from one end to the other. Of course, it is limited to inanimate objects. Since there is no spirit, this kind of transmission seems too simple and crude. Not to mention living things, even soft things like herbs and books are not very suitable and can be easily damaged in the process. Oh, there is news again. Shio said suddenly. The formation diagram suddenly flashed with a faint light, and then a jade slip appeared in the center. Long Long probed his consciousness into it and saw that it was written. A Wanzai tree heart is needed, and the delivery follows the old rules. Chapter 867 The Prodigal Old Lady 10,000 Years Tree Heart. Long Long began to think. 10,000 Years Tree Heart is an extremely rare treasure in the world of cultivation, but in the East Empire realm, since many races are good at cultivating giant trees, it is not so rare, but just a more valuable treasure. But if we just give it away like this, are we atoms? Long Long turned his head to look at Shio, only to see that she had taken out a 10,000 Years Tree Heart from the storage bag, and was immediately speechless. Master, let me talk to her. Long Long hurriedly stopped him and said. 10,000 Years Tree Heart is not a rare treasure, Shio said subconsciously, but thinking that she had not made any progress with Beiming Fanyan over the years, she sighed again. Forget it, let's see how he will deal with this matter. Long Long took out a jade slip, entered the information and put it aside. Shio curiously went over to pick it up and saw the words paid written inside. Then I saw Long Long took out another green thing. It was an ordinary tree heart, but not a Wanzai tree heart. You can produce hundreds of this thing every year, and because the output is too high, it is not worth much. Before Shio could say anything, Long Long quickly put the jade slip and the tree heart into it, and then immediately activated the formation and decisively transmitted it. Shio. If you want to communicate with the other party, this will not work. The other party will probably just ignore you, she said speechlessly, obviously having been cheated in the past. But the formation suddenly lit up again, and soon a jade slip appeared again. I need a Wanzai tree heart, not an ordinary tree heart. The delivery follows the old rules. Shio. She looked at Long Long in shock, thinking that this was the first time she received repeated messages from the other party. Master, it's not that the other party can't communicate with us, they just don't want to. Long Long sneered, and took out another jade slip and wrote. Now that the East Empire realm is full of war, the 10,000-year tree heart in the clan has been strictly controlled. We can't get it, so we can only give you a 1,000-year tree heart at most. He sent the jade slip over, and Shio showed a complicated expression beside him. Although the 10,000-year tree heart is valuable, it is not so valuable that it must be controlled, and it is unprecedented in history. If we tell such a lie that can be easily exposed, will the other party be angry and cut off contact with us directly? After a while, the other party actually sent back the jade slip again, which made Shio a little depressed. So is my previous way of communication really wrong? A 1,000-year tree heart is also okay. There were only 6 simple words in the jade slip. Did you see it? Long Long handed the jade slip to Shio. Master, they didn't even doubt the news that the Wanzai tree heart was under control. It is obvious that the other side has been completely isolated and has been out of touch with the outside world for a long time. Perhaps it is for this reason that they're so frugal with words and don't want to say a word to us, but they're reluctant to give up the resources we can provide. In fact, judging from the resources in past transactions, it seems that the other party needs not only the resources themselves, but also certain information represented by the resources. For example, they want 100 different fire flying swords. What do they want so many flying swords for? But if they want to understand the sword-making level of the Eastern Empire realm through the flying swords themselves, then it makes sense. Indeed. Xiao nodded after pondering. Master, do you think that with Beiming Fanyan's extremely conservative, xenophobic, and vigilant character, besides us, there will be other channels for communication with the outside world? Long Long continued to say with a smile, I don't think so. If there is, then they will not immediately accept the request of changing from the 10,000-year tree heart to the 1,000-year tree heart, but first seek help and confirmation from another channel. In other words, since the other party agreed very quickly, it means that they have only one channel of communication with the outside world, which is us. I see. Xiao sighed in her heart. Is it difficult to understand what Long Long deduced? No, it's just because she cared too much about the relationship with Beiming Fanyan in the past, so she was confused. Now that Long Long has pointed it out, Xiao also reacted. It is Beiming Fanyan who needs us more, not us who need to maintain this relationship more. What should we do next? Xiao asked. Do nothing. Long Long replied. Oh? Xiao opened her eyes slightly and soon understood what her disciple meant. Let it dry. Leave Beiming Fanyan out there for a while, let them adjust their attitude, and let them know who is begging whom. Then how long do we have to wait? Xiao asked with a smile. Until they can't hold back and take the initiative to send us a message. Long Long replied. Very good. Xiao nodded, then this formation diagram will be handed over to you for safekeeping. Give it to me. Long Long asked in surprise. Didn't the master still not trust me before, hiding all kinds of information? How come he suddenly became so generous that he was willing to let me handle the only channel of communication with Beiming Fanyan? Looking at the smile on Xiao's face, Long Long vaguely guessed. This is because he thinks I have a good brain, so he wants me to play a role in this regard. Okay. Long Long agreed. If Beiming Fanyan sends any news, I will tell the master as soon as possible. After saying goodbye to Xiao, Long Long returned to Jianmu and saw the three ancestors standing outside chatting. Long Long. Patriarch Kanglong waved at him. You've come at the right time. We are going to talk about business. After bringing Long Long to the secret room, Patriarch Kanglong said in a serious tone. Long Long, take out your secret treasure. Long Long took out the Red Dust 100 Worlds map and demonstrated to Patriarch Thunao and Patriarch Chuan how to teleport himself from one side to the other. What an interesting magic weapon. The old ancestor Thunao said in surprise, if ordinary life is teleported, it is often unable to withstand the vibration of the space process. Only this kind of magic weapon with a spirit of spiritual consciousness can protect the teleported person during the teleportation process. Indeed. Kumlan Mirror echoed, teleportation is not a simple matter. This old ancestor is an expert. Some people should really learn it well. Do you consider selling this magic weapon? The old ancestor Thunao continued to ask, I have a secret treasure of the same price here, which can be exchanged with you. Ahem. The old ancestor Kanglong hurriedly stopped him, let's talk about business first. In the next war, Langlong will have to use this treasure to execute tactics. This treasure has a spirit of weapon. Even if it is traded, it will be difficult to recognize the owner, right? The old ancestor Chuan echoed. That's really a pity. The old ancestor Thunao nodded. Be careful. The old ancestor Kanglong suddenly sent a message to Long Long, saying, this old woman is very stubborn. If she likes something, she will get it at all costs. You have to be careful next time. Long Long. Then you still want me to show her this treasure? Seeing Long Long's complicated expression, the old ancestor Kanglong explained. It's not that she will force you, but she will keep raising the bid to buy it from you, and may even offer a price that you find very difficult to refuse. If you don't plan to sell this treasure from the beginning, don't waver later. Oh, so it's the character of a prodigal old lady, right? Long Long sneered in his heart. Chapter 868 Surprise Attack in the City of All the Monsters, in the Imperial Capital. A seemingly inconspicuous deer monster passed through the narrow and rugged alley and then entered an abandoned house. He sneakily took out a scroll and quickly spread it on the ground. Soon, a person emerged from the scroll, followed by the second, third, and fourth. The small house was packed with people. If the Golden Horn Guards of the Imperial Capital were here, they would be horrified to recognize that these monks were mostly from the Scale Clan, Feather Clan, and Kung Clan, and all of them were high-level monks in the Cave Origin realm. Long Long finally teleported out of the scroll, put away the Ang scroll of the Red Dust 100 Worlds on the ground, and then said, count the number of people. All gathered, Elder Long Long. The monks quickly counted the number of people and reported. "Okay, let's go." At Long Long's order, everyone went out one after another, disguised as ordinary citizens and dispersed. About half an hour later, all the important facilities in the imperial capital were severely damaged. Many guarding monks were assassinated, and even Captain Jin Zhao was killed immediately. The city soon fell into chaos. A monk of the Horn clan quickly scanned the city, but found that the city was full of hostile monks, and the number was over 100. Damn, how did these enemies infiltrate? Are the patrolling monks and gate guards nearby blind? With the generals killed, the monks of the Horn clan began to organize counterattacks one after another, but they were soon dispersed by the elite troops commanded by Long Long. This repeated many times, and finally there was no organized force to resist. Only the Shenlong Tower in the center of the imperial capital remained. The tower is a unique building of that Jielong clan because the real body of the Jielong can be wrapped around the tower. The Kanglong likes to wrap around the tree. Later, the imperial capital was occupied by the Cunning clan, and the Shenlong Tower lost its function as a dragon's nest and gradually evolved into a symbol of the power center of the Eastern Empire realm. Therefore, emperors and their relatives and families of all dynasties would live in the Shenlong Tower. At this time, the young Emperor Kikiaoseng was sitting in the palace in silence, his face livid. Queen Elvia cursed the generals who came to report the news, telling them to defend the Dragon Tower to the death. At the same time, she quickly sent 2 messengers, one to Shizhao to inform the Kaling Patriarch who was outside, and the other to the front line of Nanzhao to find the White Tiger General Elvian, asking him to bring troops back to rescue the imperial capital. At the siege camp of Yuanjing City on the southern front, Elvian received the Queen Elvia's message for help and remained silent. "Master, you can't go back." Qiangzhu hurriedly advised, "Yuanjing City has a short time left. If we evacuate now, all our efforts will be wasted." Elvian sighed slowly and said, "Such a simple truth, how could I not know it? But the opponent's move is like a fairy from the sky, and it is hard to find its trace, but it really hits our vital point." Qiangzhu stood there for a moment, then slowly lowered her head. She knew what Elvian meant. From a military point of view, the White Tiger General had no weaknesses. But at a higher level of politics, he has a fatal flaw, that is, there is a Luya above him. Once Luya insists on ordering something to be done, it is not convenient for Luyan to go against her. This is not due to the difference in strength, but because Luyan has to take into account the relationship with the conservative factions in the White Tiger clan. Qiangzhu also has a vague understanding of the power factions in the White Tiger clan, but she does feel that her master is often tied up and worried. In other words, Long Long took advantage of the political struggle within the White Tiger clan to force his master to obey his mother's unreasonable behavior. Wow, so angry. Qiangzhu first became more and more angry, but soon forced herself to calm down and said, "Why don't you go back by yourself, and I will stay here to help you capture Yuanjing City." "You?" Luyan subconsciously wanted to refuse, but after thinking about it, he agreed and said with a smile, "Okay, I will not take away all the cultivators on the front line, let them obey your command." "Ah?" Qiangzhu asked in astonishment, "Then master will go back alone, it doesn't matter." Luyan smiled and said, "The reason why the other party chose to surprise attack the imperial capital is to try to force me to leave the front line. As long as I appear near the imperial capital, even if there is no soldier around me, their goal will be achieved." "Is that so?" Although Qiangzhu was a little uneasy, she still forced herself to be brave and promised Luyan that she would capture Yuanjing City and not let the Yu people catch their breath. In the imperial capital, Long Long sat calmly on the command platform and arranged the orders in an orderly manner. The adjutant watched enviously, thinking that Elder Long Long had not used his divine sense to scan the entire city from above the imperial capital, so how could he have a clearer grasp of the war situation in the city than we did? Long Long paused for a moment and said, "Tell everyone to withdraw here immediately." "Why?" The adjutant hurriedly gave the order and then asked. "Humph." Long Long said confidently, "If my guess is correct, at this point in time, the White Tiger God General should have been close to the imperial capital." Many cultivators in the city immediately withdrew, and Long Long used the Red Dust 100 Worlds map to transmit it back to the rear base camp. Not long after, Luyan entered the imperial capital alone, scanned the sky with his divine sense for a moment, and then went straight to the Dragon Tower. "Luyan, you are finally here." In the hall, Queen Luya seemed to have found the backbone, and hurriedly asked, "Have all the rebels in the imperial capital been arrested?" "They ran away," Luyan said concisely. "Run away?" Luya's voice suddenly rose 8 octaves. "How can they run away?" Liu Yan was silent for a long time, looking at Kikaosing, who was sitting on the throne without changing his expression, and sighed slightly. On the front line of Yuanjing City, in the siege position, the rhythm of the attack was suddenly increased several times. The new coach Qingzhu, the most valued disciple of the White Tiger God, has ordered to attack Yuanjing City at all costs. She knew that once Liu Yan returned to the imperial capital, the other side would immediately seize this opportunity and shift their focus to Nanzhou to rescue the defenders of Yuanjing City from trouble. Therefore, from the time the other side confirmed Liu Yan's return to the imperial capital to the time they transferred their troops to Nanzhou, the period in between was the best time window for siege. Yuanjing City must be forcibly captured within this window. Qingzhu carefully calculated the time when Liu Yan returned to the imperial capital and the time when the Feather Alliance position in the south of Yuanjing City would regroup and attack, and confirmed that there was a high possibility that his side could seize this opportunity to capture Yuanjing City. If you don't make a decision, you'll suffer the consequences. The little tiger's savage instinct prevailed, and he chose to bet everything without thinking. Take it. About a quarter of an hour later, the defensive formation of Yuanjing City was already shaky, and the cost was that the resource consumption of the attackers increased by more than 3 times. Qingzhu didn't care about these at all. She just stared at the formation of Yuanjing City and kept urging her subordinates to increase the intensity of the attack. Finally, the defensive formation was broken. Qingzhu stood up suddenly, waved her hand, and countless monks from the Horn clan and the Hare clan rushed into Yuanjing City. A moment later, the gate of Yuanjing City was suddenly opened, and a large number of Yu clan monks poured out. Did you know that you couldn't hold it, so you came out to fight to the death? Very good, it saved me time. Qingzhu sneered, and then, she couldn't laugh anymore. Because more and more Yu clan monks came out, completely exceeding the number of defenders in the city. The little tiger's heart skipped a beat, and he suddenly realized something very serious that he had overlooked. How did the other party send the surprise attack army into the imperial capital? Chapter 869 The End of the War. Of the 2 volumes of Yin and Yang in the Red Dust 100 Worlds, one was brought into the imperial capital by the spies as the starting point for teleportation to the imperial capital. The other volume, where the surprise attack monks departed, was the base camp of Liangjing Plain. The reason for choosing to depart from Liangjing Plain came from long strategic prediction. If I were the White Tiger God General, I would have to rescue the imperial capital after learning that it was attacked, but I would definitely try to take Yuanjing City before rescuing it. After the battle of the imperial capital has achieved its goal, it is necessary to return to Liangjing Plain as soon as possible, otherwise Yuanjing City may not be safe. Therefore, when Qingzhu was still commanding the monks to attack Yuanjing City, Long had already sneaked into Yuanjing City alone with the volume of the Red Dust 100 Worlds, using the scanning ability and delusion of the Kunlun Mirror. Then, a teleportation channel was opened in the city, and a large number of coalition monks rushed out like wolves and tigers, and the battle situation had been determined. In the final analysis, the reason why the Cunning and White Tiger coalition dared to attack Yuanjing City was to take advantage of the disadvantageous situation that the defenders of Yuanjing City and the main force were isolated from each other, and attempted to divide and annihilate them. But with the Red Dust 100 Worlds map, a weapon that can teleport people at will, the so-called divided situation will collapse without attack, and the opponent will no longer have any advantage. The little tiger who thought about this clearly regretted it so much that his teeth were almost broken. However, the main reason for this situation was not that Qi or Liu Yan made any mistakes, but that the opponent unexpectedly took out an unpredictable trump card. Therefore, Qingzhu could only think nervously. Retreat is definitely necessary, but it cannot be withdrawn directly, otherwise it is hard to say how many monks can escape under the opponent's taking advantage of the situation. If the master is here, what will he do? No, the master didn't want to continue to attack Yuanjing City. I insisted on doing so. In other words, the master may have expected that attacking Yuanjing City was not a good move and would fall into a situation that was difficult to escape. It's only because of my stubbornness that, Qingzhu was thinking desperately when she heard the elder beside her suddenly say, Your Highness, now we have no choice but to sacrifice the pawn to save the king. No. Qingzhu immediately refused. This is my mistake, I can't ask you to sacrifice for my decision. But Your Highness, you know, this is the only way. The elder of the Horn clan smiled gently, which made Qingzhu's eyes red. This was the mother arranged by the Korean royal family who took care of her since she was a child. Although they were not related by blood, she was closer to her than Liu Ye. Don't, Kyungsu grabbed her hand and begged, don't let this happen, Your Highness. The elder of the Horn clan held her hand and smiled, have you forgotten what the White Tiger God taught you? As a general, you must never be soft-hearted. Also, don't hate Long Long for this. Mother knows what you are thinking. You and he are just serving different masters at this moment. We may not be enemies in the future. On the Yuanjing city side, Long Long sat calmly in the city guard's mansion and commanded the coalition forces to attack the opposite side. The opposite side dispatched a team of cave-origin cultivators to intercept them in a nearly suicidal manner, covering the main force of the coalition forces to evacuate in batches through the magic circle. After all, they did not have any magic weapons that could instantly teleport a large number of cultivators away. In this way, the victory was determined. Think about it carefully. If I hadn't provided the treasure and commanded it in the middle, I don't know how this long-lasting war would have turned out. Now that I have made great achievements, the kindness of the Kanglong clan for taking care of him and Long Hu has been repaid. Next, I will plan my defection without distraction. The follow-up finishing work took a few days, and the Cunning and White Tiger coalition had been completely expelled from Nanzhao, and the Liuanjing plain returned to the hands of the Feather clan. The Feather clan thanked the Dragon clan for their assistance very politely, and then escorted them out of the country. This made the Dragon clan monks very angry, and they always felt that they were being demolished after crossing the river. But Long Long knew that the Feather clan was a race, and xenophobia was almost engraved in their bones, so it was not surprising. Unexpectedly, Fen Yan came to see him off. You really don't want to sell your Red Dust 100 Worlds map? She asked with a smile. No. Long Long refused firmly, even if I want to sell it, the clan won't agree. That's right, after all, its strategic value has been proven in this war. Fen Yan smiled indifferently. Next, it's the armistice agreement. Can the armistice really be successful? Long Long expressed strong doubts about this. The Liuanjing plain had been occupied for so long and had suffered devastating damage. The destruction of Yuanjing city was no different from the destruction of the city. With the arrogant character of the Feather clan, could they really swallow this? Now they only stopped fighting and took a breath because they felt that the Cunning and White Tiger coalition was too strong. If Thong Zhao cannot quickly defeat Bizhou in the future, they will definitely have to fight. Facing Long Long's question, Fen Yan just smiled and said nothing. By the way, Fen Yan said again, another suggestion, I wonder how you think about it. What suggestion? Long Long asked doubtfully. The Red Dust 100 Worlds map is impossible to sell, but other things can be considered, but you didn't mention this before. Of course it's to marry into our Vermilion Bird clan. Fen Yan said seriously. Absolutely impossible. Long Long also said seriously. I don't mind if you bring Dragon Fox with you. Fen Yan put her arm around his shoulders and said teasingly, and even if it's the two of us, you can do it, too, understand? Long Long was actually a little excited for a moment, but soon sneered and said, buy one get one free, right? I tell you, don't even think about it. If you keep talking nonsense, I will report you to the clan leader. Ha ha ha. Fen Yan laughed and prepared to leave. You don't even want the good fortune that is delivered to your door, you are such a useless little man. Long Long was not moved at all. You know, if you really marry into the Vermilion Bird clan, then without the support of the Kanglong clan, won't you be at the mercy of the other party? Besides, after all, I'm not a demon clan, and sooner or later I will have to say goodbye to the East Empire realm completely. My goal is becoming Fanyam. If I marry to Nanzhao, wouldn't it be the opposite? After returning to Dongzhao, Long Long, as a newly promoted elder of the Dragon clan, was soon warmly welcomed by the clan. Although there is no truce with Dongzhao now, anyone with a discerning eye can see that the war will not last much longer. As an elder who has made great achievements on the battlefield, Long Long will surely be very popular in the clan in the future, and it is only a matter of time before he becomes powerful. If he does not curry favor with them now, when will he? Long Long was completely unable to bear the harassment, and could only hide in the Dragon Fox's residence under the pretext of practicing in seclusion. After a few days of being bored with the fox, the neglected Beiming Fanyan finally sent a message. Chapter 870 Don't joke. Is Long Long busy recently? Long patiently ground the tea leaves and then brewed them with spring water. Of course, I'm a new welder after all. Long Long sighed slightly and said, I don't know why, everyone thinks I will definitely be the next clan leader. If you become the clan leader, then can I be the clan leader's wife? Long said with a smile, then the two of us will have the final say in the Kanglong clan. Wake up, Fox. Even the current clan leader King Boan can't have a say in the clan, and important matters still have to be decided by the Kang Long ancestor. I know. Long lay back on the bed and rolled comfortably, and I know that you'll definitely not be the clan leader. You still want to take me there, right? Speaking of this. Long suddenly frowned and asked, have you been slacking off in your practice recently? Ah? Long immediately stood up and pretended to be stupid. I don't know what you are talking about. The tea is ready, please enjoy. Long took the tea, took a sip, and said, it wasn't long between the two of us when we transformed, right? Now I have entered the Kavyuan realm. What stage have you reached in your practice? Long stammered and couldn't speak. She felt a little aggrieved, thinking, don't I follow you in everything I do every day? When you play, I also play. When you work, I also work. When you practice, I also practice. But why is my practice speed far behind yours? You must have been practicing secretly without telling me. And you think I'm lazy, you big liar. Long. She was somewhat indescribably angry and miserable. Her big tail drooped down, and she said dejectedly, I know, I'll just go and practice. Long nodded with satisfaction, took another sip of tea, and saw the dragon fox who walked to the door suddenly turned around and said, this seems to be my room, right? The doors closed heavily behind him, and Long sighed. Alas, you are still a girl who has not grown up, and you can't understand my painstaking efforts. When I leave the East Empire realm in the future, there will be no one to guard you, watch you, take care of you, and protect you meticulously. If you don't hurry up and become strong now, when will you eat? He suddenly felt a sense of induction coming from the storage bag, and hurriedly found a quiet room nearby, took out the formation diagram, and it was indeed a jade slip sent from Beiming Fanyum. It recorded a line of words. 1,000-year-old tree heart is needed, and the delivery follows the old rules. Hectares. Long sneered, and forgot what he had promised to tell Shio, and replied directly. Master was sent to the ward by the tribe, and asked me to be responsible for contacting you. Just tell me what you need in the future. The jade slip was sent to the other side, and soon there was no news. But Long knew that the other side would definitely not be able to hold back and contact him again. The reason was simple. As long as he could break the bottom line once, he could break it a second time. About 3 or 4 days later, the other side really sent a message. Who are you? I'm the apprentice of the person who contacted you before. Long replied quickly and delivered the jade slip. This time, after waiting for about half a quarter of an hour, the other side sent a message. Are you a dragon clan? Absolutely genuine. Long replied. How do you prove it? The other side asked again. In these few short words, there was a strong suspicion, distrust, and despair of resisting communication but having to communicate. Give you a drop of my blood? Long asked. This sentence directly confused the other side. You know, the East Empire realm is similar to the cultivation realm, and there are many very ancient, mysterious, insidious, and unpredictable secret methods that can curse people through hair, blood, and other things. If you lose blood on the battlefield, it's fine. After all, blood will lose its activity after a period of time. But if you send blood directly to the other party through the teleportation array, and the other party takes it and preserves it with secret methods, it will be easy for them to curse you. Those who can send blood to the other party are either fools who were born without any vigilance, or they regard the other party as a trustworthy person. After a long time, the other party replied, okay. This answer did not surprise Long, so he ordered Kunlun Mirror. A Jin, get a drop of Jia Long's blood. Kunlun Mirror. I knew it. I should have known it earlier. It should be explained here that Long himself is actually a human being, and he does not and cannot have any Jia Long bloodline. The reason why he can be of Jia Long and thrive in the East Empire realm is entirely because of the essence of Yinglong. This thing is like a simulator core. It builds a software platform that simulates the Dragon Clan on human hardware, so that it can run various Dragon Clan programs. This thing is more complicated to explain in detail. In short, Long himself does not have any dragon blood. Because of this, he agreed to give the other party blood so regularly, also let Kunlun Mirror use that drop of Yinglong's blood to differentiate some ordinary blood. The so-called blood refers to the special blood marrow that can make ordinary blood, and it is also the origin of the blood and ki of the cultivator's body. The blood differentiated from it is naturally the purest Yinglong blood. If the enemy uses this blood to do something, it will only be reported to the original owner of the blood, that is, Yinglong in the Locking Demon Tower. However, Long doubt whether there is such a powerful secret technique that can curse Yinglong in the Locking Demon Tower across the distant barrier between the Eastern Empire realm and the Cultivation realm. If there is, Yinglong would have died 10,000 times, okay? After all, the Cunning clan least wants to see this Emperor Yinglong still alive in the cultivation realm. In short, Longlong's practice of sending blood over will not have any hidden dangers at all. But the other party didn't know this at all, so he was probably going to be bought off again. This guy was so skillful when doing this kind of thing that he didn't even think about it. Kumlinjing didn't know how to complain. He silently sent a drop of blood over, and said in a cold voice, "Don't call me next time for this kind of thing." The Dragon clan also has a method of using blood essence to differentiate blood. You can use this method to make a drop yourself. If I ask the clan for help, the clan will definitely ask, "Why don't you just cut your hand and squeeze out a drop?" I can't answer that. Longlong said with a grin. Kumlinjing ignored him and just remained silent in depression. Longlong put the blood into the clean bottle and sent it over. Not long after, the other party finally sent a message. "Who is your paternal clan?" Well, whether the other party is beiming Fanyan or not, at least it must be a certain dragon force, so it can identify the blood composition so quickly. Think about it carefully. If the other party's identity cannot be confirmed, Xiao is unlikely to be this ATM, but it is also very cowardly. Guess. Longlong replied with 2 words and sent the jade slip. The other party was silent for about a quarter of an hour, and then sent the jade slip back. Longlong took a closer look and saw only 4 words in the jade slip. Don't joke. Chapter 871 Elder Changzhen, start. Don't joke. Seeing these 4 words, Longlong couldn't help wanting to laugh. Obviously, the other party has accepted his new identity, otherwise, let alone don't joke, he wouldn't even send him a word, and it would be more likely to directly abandon this information channel. The practice of sending blood to the other party seems too reckless and dangerous, but the actual effect is unexpectedly good, saving everyone a lot of steps of testing, communicating, and gaining trust from each other. Based on my blood, are you willing to believe that I am a dragon? Longlong continued to reply. After a while, the other party sent back a jade slip, which read, "Blood is of great importance and should not be handed over to others easily, otherwise it is easy to put yourself in danger, remember." He also started to preach. Longlong thought that he didn't know how many people were on the other side, but the one who made the decision must be an old scholar. So he wrote back, "Master said you can be trusted. It's not a question of whether you can be trusted or not." The other party replied, "But in this dangerous and turbulent world, you can't trust anyone easily." Okay, it's confirmed that the other party has paranoia, Longlong thought in his heart, but said, "I know, so can I trust you? Your master said you can trust us because we are also dragons." The other party replied this time, "It's just because of some historical reasons that the identity of the Dragon clan is more sensitive, so you must not reveal our existence to the outside world, especially since you have contacted us about this matter, this will bring you disaster." Okay. Longlong laughed in his heart, but in the jade slip, he showed an innocent look, as if he believed what the elders said. By the way. The other party hesitated for a while this time, and replied, "Is the Cunning clan still in power? Who is the emperor?" "Yes." Longlong replied quickly, "The current emperor is Qiqiaosan." The other party did not reply anymore. Just as Longlong was about to go out to see if Longhu was practicing seriously, a jade slip suddenly came from the other side. What is the relationship between the Kanglong clan and the Cunning clan now? Longlong thought for a moment and replied, "I can't say. The clan is currently fighting with the Cunning clan, but recently signed a ceasefire agreement. I don't know whether the relationship between the 2 clans is good or bad." There are 2 pieces of information revealed in these words. If beiming Fanyan had not completely lost the knowledge left by the ancestors, it should be able to see. First, the Kanglong clan is still willing to recognize that the Cunning clan is orthodox. Second, the Kanglong clan considers its own interests and takes priority over maintaining the interests of the Cunning clan. This is also the norm of the feudal dynasty in the Eastern Empire realm. The Great Lords protect the Small Lords, and the Small Lords respect the Great Lords, but only to the extent that they do not harm their own interests. When their own interests are damaged, the people below will rebel at any time and anywhere, and the people above will not find it strange, and the whole world takes it for granted. The other party did not think too much, and continued to ask, "Why is there a war?" "Well, this is to spy on information from me." Longlong just thought about it for a while, and immediately realized why the other party asked him these questions. It must be that Xiao had previously conducted a lot of tests and tricks to confirm whether the other party was beiming Fanyan. As a result, The already xenophobic Beiming Fanyan forces became strongly wary of Xiao, so that they simply refused to communicate with her. Now that the unintentional Long Long has replaced him, the other party has relaxed some of his vigilance, but didn't I say at the beginning that Xiao is my master? Forget it, who cares? Long Long answered honestly. Qiuan, the Cunning emperor, died suddenly. The Black Turtle clan of Bizhou tried to support Qiuan, the Cunning prince, to take the throne. Then the Cunning side united with the White Tiger to support Qiuan's legitimate son Qiaosan, so the two sides fought. As for us, it seems that we have formed an alliance with the Feather clan of Nanzhao, and the Cunning and White Tiger coalition attacked Nanzhao, so we fought with the Cunning clan. This news is really heavy. The meaning behind it is that the 5 major demon clans in the Eastern Empire realm are fighting each other, and the world is full of war. Probably because of this, Beiming Fanyan no longer responded, perhaps digesting this news. After a few days, the ceremony in the Kanglong clan was also declared over, and everyone accepted the fact that there was an elder named Long Long in the clan. Although Thongzhou still has not come to sign a ceasefire agreement, it seems to have reached some kind of tacit understanding with Nanzhao and Shizhou, and will no longer restart the war with the two states, but turn the direction of attack to Bizhou. The pressure on Bizhou increased immediately. It was said that envoys were sent every day to request Dongzhou to send troops, and the price was getting higher and higher. The clan was now waiting for the price. Although it was impossible to sit back and watch Bizhou lose, it also planned to see what Bizhou's psychological limit was. In short, Dongzhou ushered in a rare and short period of peace. The biggest task of coming to the East Empire realm this time was to overcome the tribulation and enter the Nascent Soul realm. Now that the main task has been successfully completed, and the communication channel with Beiming Fanyan has been obtained, Long Long felt that he had won a great victory, so he planned to read the save of Qiu Chang's time and quickly tell the Ziwei sect master the good news to consolidate his shaky invincible character. Jin, read the save. Point 1. Kunlun Tai King Sect, Jin Line. Character identity. Qiu Chang's Iron. Mirror Flower Water Moon template is overwritten, and he is traveling through time and space. Qiu Chang's Iron returned to Jinling, and first tidied his clothes, then went out triumphantly, ready to fly to Kunlun Tianzhu to tell the Ziwei sect master the good news. As a result, just after leaving the cave, she saw Zhu Yingyan coming back from outside. Seeing that her senior brother was so happy, she asked curiously, "What good thing happened to you that made you so happy?" "Oh, junior sister." Qiu Chang's Iron patted her shoulder, "I have formed a baby." Zhu Yingyan was struck by lightning and stood there in shock. In fact, when she saw senior brother Qiu smiling, she had already had a premonition, but suddenly she knew that her senior brother had formed a baby quietly, and she still had an indescribable complex feeling. In the past, I tried hard to catch up with my senior brother's back. Now, can't I even catch up with his back? But I don't care about that kind of thing anymore. Even if one day, my senior brother suddenly ascends to heaven, would he no longer be my senior brother? Instead of falling into a situation of catching up with my senior brother and complaining about myself, it is better to practice steadily and not let my senior brother down. Thinking of this, Zhu Yingyan smiled and said, "Congratulations, senior brother. You will be promoted to elder next, right?" Junior sister's Yu's reaction was so normal that Qiu Chang's Iron felt a little abnormal. Shouldn't he say in disbelief, "Impossible, why did senior brother improve so quickly?" Qiu Chang's Iron was a little disappointed that he couldn't get the synchronization value from junior sister, but he quickly calmed down and said with a smile, "I was just about to report to master. Junior sister, are you willing to go with me?" Chapter 872. Bullying the Small Kunlun Tianzhu, Yaxu Palace. The head of Ziwei sect is convening a meeting of elders for the simple reason that Shushan has sent another invitation to hold a new orthodox competition and invite Kunlun Tai King sect to send monks to attend the meeting. This competition is different from the last Baiyuzheng competition. In addition to the competition of the foundation building cultivators, there is also a special competition for the Jindan cultivators to compete, so strictly speaking, there are two competitions, but they are mixed together. The intention of such an arrangement is almost obvious. It is to let the Qin Sword Master King Fengzhenren defeat Kunlun's Droksin Tongmingzhenren Chaingun. Kunlun felt like eating a fly when receiving such a request, and it was very disgusting. Let Zhenren Chaingun go, the chance of defeating the Qin Sword Master seems very slim. After all, the Qin's human sword is one of the two Fuxia swords, and its rank is much higher than that of ordinary flying swords. In the past, even the immortal Chanma holding the lead Armgyawakan sword was not the opponent of the Chin Sword Master, so how could Sinrun Changan defeat him? If Changen is not allowed to go, it is obvious that Shushan will use this opportunity to build momentum and weaken Kumlan Tai King sect's reputation as the best sect in the world. Therefore, it is not right to go, and it is not right not to go. Everyone is very annoyed, and they have to smile at the Shushan endpoint, which really makes the Kumlan elders feel very frustrated. In the final analysis, it is just that they are not as strong as others, otherwise why would they be in such a dilemma? Of course, no one means to blame Changjeng. After all, the Qin's human sword is too scary and cannot be matched by human power. If there is anything to blame, it can only be blamed that Kumlan's luck is not as prosperous as Shushan, and there is no lucky person like King Feng. The envoy sent by Shushan this time is Jinwu, the first disciple of Elder Yuzhing. Ling Yunpo has dealt with this envoy several times. He is a typical Shushan rough man, upright, straightforward, and inflexible. Kumlan wanted to delay time by saying we will reply to Shushan after we have discussed and finalized it, but this person directly replied Master has ordered me to bring Kumlan's reply back to the mountain gate, and then he stayed in Kumlan and refused to leave, as if he must wait for Kumlan to give a reply. There was no choice but for the elders of Kumlan to gather and discuss how to deal with the challenge of Shushan. Qiu Changtai and Zhu Yingyan were outside to ask for an audience, and the head of Ziwei was about to ask them to wait outside, when an elder suddenly suggested, Master Changan has always been wise. In this dilemma, maybe he can have some clever ideas, who knows? Master Ziwei thought about it and asked someone to summon Master Changan and Master Qingying to come in. The two entered the main hall and saw the elders gathered together, each with a solemn and cold expression, as solemn as if Kumlan was about to suffer a disaster. Master. Qiu Changtai cleared his throat and was about to speak when he heard the head of Ziwei sect, looking annoyed, raising his hand and saying, Changzhen is here just in time. Now Shushan has invited Kumlan to compete. How do you think we should respond? Qiu Changtai was a little confused, so an elder came out and explained to him the matter of the Shushan envoy. In short, it was the Shang King sect of Shushan who came to provoke again. Since it is a competition of the orthodox sect, then we must go. Zhu Yingyan said lightly, Kumlan is the leader of the orthodox sect. There is no reason to refuse it. Her expression was so calm that the elders of Kumlan were confused. In other words, this is what Changzhen meant. Even if the other party has the Qin's human sword, Changzhen is still willing to fight the other party for the dignity of the sect. Thinking of this, everyone couldn't help but stand in awe. The elders couldn't figure out the situation, but how could the head of Ziwei sect not know Zhu Yingyan's character? This girl always speaks her mind, and she may not have informed Changzhen beforehand. So he said calmly, not only must we go, but we must win, otherwise it is better not to go. Indeed. Qiu Changtai also nodded and said, that's the truth. Seeing Changzhen nod, the elders took it as his voluntary request to fight, and for a moment, their brows relaxed and they smiled. Master, this way, the problem will be solved. What does it mean to solve the problem? Master Ziwei's face turned dark. You think that Changzhen volunteered to fight, so even if he loses, it is his fault, right? A bunch of idiots. If Changzhen loses, the whole Kumlan will be embarrassed. He waved his sleeves unhappily and said, Changzhen, if you face the Qin Sword Master, how confident are you? Qiu Changtai laughed and said, the Qin's human sword is indeed a divine sword, but it is not something that a Jin and realm cultivator can wield easily. I think that true Manking Fen may not be able to unleash the full power of the divine sword. Even so, there is almost no opponent at the same realm. Sect leader Ziwei deliberately wanted to speak more highly of the Qin Sword Master so that his disciple would retreat in the face of difficulty, lest he be forced out by the elders to fight against the Qin Sword Master. Without using the power of the sword, with the inherent sharpness of the Qin's human sword, how can the Tianyuan Yeki sword resist it? Changzhen, you must know. If you go to participate in the Jin and realm competition, you can only win, not lose. Even if you draw with true Manking Fen, someone will use this to attack the sect, saying that the sect is no longer the leader of the righteous way. Do you understand? Ziwei's sect master said it so bluntly, Qiu Changtai naturally couldn't continue to brush the synchronization value of the invincible character setting, otherwise wouldn't it be deliberately going against the master? He nodded and said, I understand, so I won't participate in the competition and face off against the Qin Sword Master. The Kumlan elders were stunned. They had just taken the initiative to ask for a fight, so why are they shrinking now? So an elder said, Changzhen, Shushan invites you to a fight. As the first Jintan's Hinran of cunning, it is really unreasonable not to fight. You'll still be criticized. Senior, it's okay. Qiu Changtai said with a smile, you can tell Shushan that I have entered the Earning realm recently and can't participate in the Jindan realm competition. Everyone. In the main hall, there was silence for about 30 breaths, so quiet that you could almost hear a pin drop. Yuning? What Yuning? Didn't you just enter the OA level not long ago? How did you suddenly succeed in the tribulation? Moreover, the heavenly tribulation of a first-grade golden elixir would be earth-shattering, burning mountains and boiling seas, and known to everyone in the four fields, right? Why haven't we received any news? Ha 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 ha. The head of Ziwi suddenly laughed, breaking the awkward atmosphere at the scene. I see. Since Chan Zheng has already ascended to the nascent soul realm, he naturally cannot compete with the true Manking Fen who remains in the golden core realm, otherwise wouldn't he be accused of bullying the weak? The elders of Kunlun suddenly realized, and for a moment they didn't care to delve into when Qiu Changtai had passed the tribulation, and quickly agreed. Not bad, as the leader of the righteous way, how can we, Kunlun, bully the weak? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Mundo Fanfic Novelers, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelers. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 873. I've long heard of your name. Kunlun Chanzhen has broken through the Jindan realm and entered the Earning realm. Such terrible and heavy news quickly spread across the land of Shenzhou. Some people who were curious silently calculated the time when Chanzhen entered the Jindan realm, only to find that it was less than 300 years. Going back further, he had not even used up his 200 years of life in the foundation building realm, and he had already formed a first-grade Jindan. Such a terrible speed of cultivation improvement is not an exaggeration to say that it is soaring into the sky, and it makes people have many unrealistic fantasies and speculations about the Dudoksin Tongmin talent that is hard to come by in 1,000 years. For a time, the cultivators stopped discussing the Chin Sword Master, and began to discuss how invincible Dudoksin Tongmin was. Some people even swore that Chan Zheng would be able to ascend to heaven before the age of 500 and become the youngest immortal in the history of Kunlun Tai King sect. No, the youngest immortal in history. Qiu Changtai sneered at this. It is highly likely that he will ascend to heaven within 500 years. The problem is that he may not still be Kunlun Changgang at the time. Sorry, I'm an undercover. After breaking through and entering the nascent soul realm, Qiu Changtai was naturally promoted to the Kunlun Elder. The sect gave him a mountain west of Kunlun Tianzhu, named Miaoxuan, as his cave residence. So Qiu Changtai took Zhu Yinlian, said goodbye to Guanzhen, Jin Qingnan and other junior brothers and sisters, and moved from Jinlan to Miaoxuan Mountain. Next month, it will be the day of the opening of Kunlun Mountain. Zhu Yinlian was carving a stone bed in the cave with a flying sword, and suddenly said, Brother, now that you are a new elder, how many inner disciples do you plan to recruit? I haven't thought about it yet. Qiu Changtai smiled faintly. Let's talk about it when the time comes. Let's see the quality of this year's disciples first. Anyway, the most powerful disciples will definitely choose to be taught by the headmaster himself. Zhu Yinlian had a complicated expression, as if he wanted to say something but stopped. After a while, he said, The tribe asked me to tell you something. This year there is a cultivator in the tribe who plans to join Kunlun next month. Her name is Yu Jin. It is said that she admired you very much in the past, and has decided that as long as she can complete the road to heaven, she hopes to become your disciple. The tribe said that if it is convenient for you, please take care of her. According to the rules of Kunlun, except for the chief disciple who must be taught by the headmaster himself, the rest who can complete the road to heaven within the specified time are Kunlun's inner disciples, and can freely choose Kunlun elders to become their disciples. Of course, if you choose an elder to become your disciple, you have to see if he is willing to do so. That's why the Zhu family of Tiannan found Qiu Changtai in advance, saying that they would do him a favor and hope that he would help you. Anyway, as a new elder, you have to accept disciples. At this time, there is no disciple at all, so let our talented girl from the Zhu family come to support you. Qiu Changtai couldn't think of a reason to refuse. Although he would rebel against the sect sooner or later and seize the Jintin stone, accepting a disciple at this time would actually harm others, but the Zhu family of Tiannan is a big family after all. Zhu Jin will be protected by the Zhu family of Tiannan in the future, and with the care of Zhu Yinlian, he will not be seriously implicated. More importantly, there is really no reason for him not to accept a disciple at this time. How talented is Yu Jin? He asked with a smile. If she is talented as my wife with a heart of 7 orifices. Zhu Yingyan's face flushed slightly, and he whispered. It is said that she has the talent of a clear mirror and still water. The so-called clear mirror and still water means that the mind is like a clear mirror, moving like still water, calm and natural, and can more easily enter into meditation and Taoism. It is also a relatively rare talent for cultivation, although it is not as good as the clear mind of Taoism and the heart of 7 orifices. I see. Qiu Changtai nodded and said, let's talk about it after she has completed the road to heaven. The implication is that she has to become an inner disciple. Zhu Yingyan nodded, and continued to decorate the cave with magic flying sword. Qiu Changtai had nothing to do here, so he left the cave to relax outside. Since Jindan Zhenren was promoted to Yuning Elder, his original position as the deacon of the Sutra Pavilion was naturally dismissed. Now he is in a state of doing nothing and being free and easy. Thinking carefully, it seems that I haven't worked in this librarian position for long since I was promoted to Jindan Zhenren. The 6 paths invaded Gyeongthong and entered a state of war. I jumped directly to the core leadership and began to command Kunlun's comrades to fight. In this way, it is quite a subtle sense of Jvu. Qiu Changtai was looking back at the past memories of the Jindan realm, and suddenly he saw the eldest sister Luo Baiyuan flying quickly from a distance. Oh, now she is not the eldest sister. I have graduated from the Jindan realm, and I should call her Yuan Zhenren. Just when Qiu Changtai was struggling with the address, Luo Baiyuan said very straightforwardly, Elder Chang'an, congratulations on your promotion to the Yuning realm. You're welcome. Qiu Changtai smiled and said, it's just luck. That, Luo Baiyuan is also not good at finding topics. After a long time of that, he finally reluctantly said, we have a cultivation seat next month in our Luo family, Qiu Changtai. This sounds familiar. His name is Luo Chuan, and I heard that he has heard of your great name, Changzhen, for a long time. So he hopes to become your disciple if he can complete his journey to heaven. Luo Baiyuan said all in one breath, and then looked at him eagerly. Qiu Changtai was silent for a moment, then asked, why did you choose me? Because we've long heard of your great name, Changzhen, Luo Baiyuan said vaguely, but was interrupted by Qiu Changtai directly. Senior Sister Han Yuan, I'll call you that for now. What does I've long heard of your great name mean? The succession of a master in cultivation is a matter of vital importance to the future path. How can we just choose someone casually because of I've long heard of your great name? Well. Luo Baiyuan thought for a moment in distress, and finally gave up and said, okay, I'll be honest. It was the clan that wanted him to worship you as a master. Changzhen, the clan believes that you must be the next headmaster of Kunlun, and you may even be the most powerful headmaster of Kunlun in history. Instead of letting Luo Chuan worship Master Ziya, it would be better for him to worship you. It will be more beneficial to his path. This statement is indeed true. After all, Qiu Changtai is not only the successor of the headmaster, but also has the talent of a clear mind, majoring in the 5 Thunders orthodox law, a first-grade golden elixir and a first-grade immortal infant. The rank of immortality in the future is almost unlimited, at least he is a peerless cultivator with a guaranteed Dailyo golden immortal. It is true that the headmaster Ziwei is now the headmaster of Kunlun, but Qiu Changtai will definitely have his current status and strength in the future. What he does not have now, Qiu Changtai may also have in the future. Is there any need to make a choice? Anyone who is not blind or stupid can see who should be chosen as a disciple. Qiu Changtai was a little speechless when he wanted to understand the key points. I didn't expect that I had already started to compete with my master for disciples before I became the headmaster of Kunlun. In order to prevent any rifts, I have to go to the master to say hello to avoid misunderstandings. I know, let's talk about it next month. He used the same excuse to evade the Zhu family in Tainan to deal with Luo Baiyuan. After sending senior sister Luo away, Qiu Changtai quickly thought of one thing. Even as Yu and Luo families have taken action, is there still something that Kunlun cannot figure out? Those elders and seniors of Kunlun who I have dealt with in the past and are familiar with, will they now begin to scramble to push their descendants to me? What a joke. I'm the one who wants to seize the fragments of the booty and stone. How can I have the time to cultivate and take care of these Kunlun cultivation seeds for you? He hurriedly flew all the way on his sword, quickly flew to the Kunlun sky pillar, rushed into the Uxu palace, and planned to discuss countermeasures with his master. After entering the lecture room where the head of Ziwei was, Qiu Changtai was about to speak, but he saw that on the 9-colored lotus platform, The head of Ziwi was closing his eyes to rest, and said slowly, "Changzhen, you came at the right time. Just now, an elder in the clan came to me and said that our Ji family has a cultivation seed, and I have long heard of your name of Taoism, make up for the previous National Day leave." Chapter 874. A crowded visitor. This cultivator of the Ji family, named Ji1, is said to be born with the ability to speak, is very intelligent, and is likely to awaken the Seven Aquages heart in the future, at least not now. To be honest, regardless of whether she will awaken the Seven Aquages heart, Ziwi's sect leader has spoken, and unless Qiu Changtime has a brain injury, he will definitely accept this disciple. But, Qiu Changtime told Ziwi's sect leader about the Zhu family and the Luo family in detail, and the latter frowned slightly. Obviously, the Ji family is not completely ignorant of the movements of other immortal cultivation families, so they hurried to Ziwi's sect leader to ask for help. Otherwise, when Elder Changzhen accepted 10 or 8 disciples, it would be basically impossible for the Ji family to squeeze in another one, which would be unreasonable. For Ziwi's sect leader, this matter is actually not complicated. First, the Ji family's disciple still has to let Changzhen accept one, so that the family can also make sense. Secondly, not every cat or dog can be asked to come to Changzhen to become a disciple. Elder Changzhen is the one who will take over as the head of Kunlun Sept in the future. Every disciple must be able to bring him enough value of connections or have enough growth potential, otherwise it will just be a waste of his energy. The latter can be judged by the performance during the climbing of Kunlun Tianzu on the day of the opening of the mountain, while the former naturally needs the head of Ziwi to check for him. After all, Qiu Changtime doesn't know much about the old family. You don't have to worry. The head of Ziwi said slowly, "If someone asks you to give your disciple, you can ask them to come to me. Will this be too much trouble for Master?" Qiu Changtime asked with a wry smile. "Humph." The head of Ziwi said with a rare domineering attitude, "What genius disciple, the seed of cultivation, also needs to see if it can pass the Master's eyes." "Thank you, Master." Qiu Changtime was overjoyed. He returned to the cave house of Miaoxuan Mountain, while the head of Ziwi was meditating and entering into a state of concentration, when suddenly an elder came to visit. "Master, we have a good seedling in the Chen family who wants to become the disciple of Elder Changzhen. Please be flexible." The so-called flexibility means very clearly, "I went to Elder Changzhen to ask for favors, but was turned away. He asked me to come to you." "Humph." Master Ziwi sneered in his heart, but said, "Oh, what kind of good seedling is it? If he is not sure that he can complete the road to heaven, I can't ask Changzhen for help." The elder was full of confidence and patted his chest and said, "Master, if you don't mind, I will bring him to you for your review." In short, there is absolutely no problem for him to wend to the inner gate of Kunlun. He left in a hurry, and Master Ziwi thought to himself that if the other party is really talented, it would not be a bad idea to let Changzhen accept him. But if it is just a good seedling in the general sense, then I'm sorry, the next master of Kunlun is not your family's nanny. Just as the headmaster of Ziwi was thinking, another elder came to visit. "Headmaster, our family just had a seed of cultivation last year, with good talent and state of mind. I'll bring her here for you to see." The headmaster of Ziwi was startled when he heard this, and immediately had a bad premonition in his heart. "Wait, how many people want to be my grandchildren?" At the cave residence of Miaoxuan Mountain, 5 or 6 elders stood at the door, arguing and arguing. "Elder Changzhen, you can't just accept disciples from the Zhu family. We also have many outstanding juniors here." Zhu Yingyan stood at the door and stopped the elders, saying calmly and coldly, "Sorry, seniors, the headmaster has already ordered that all disciples who want to worship under my senior brother must be examined by him first." Elders kept coming here, and after hearing what Zhu Yingyan said, they turned around and flew towards the direction of Kunlun Tianzu. Of course, there were some who didn't believe it, thinking that this was just an excuse from Zhu Yingyan or even the Zhu family of Tianan, so they blocked the door and shouted that they wanted to meet with Elder Changzhen. Qiu Changtime hid in the cave, listening to the elder shouting outside, and for a moment his scalp was numb. In the past, those big stars in modern society would be surrounded by a large number of enthusiastic fans once they revealed their identities in public. I think they also had the same headache as I do now, right? Fortunately, Master was wise and told me in advance that I could push all the troubles to him. It was great. In the lecture room of Yaxu Palace, more than 20 elders stood densely. Those who didn't know would think that the top leaders of Kunlun were discussing some important sect affairs again. Everyone was chattering, and the content was nothing more than how excellent their own disciples were, and they would never humiliate the reputation of Elder Changjiang. Hearing this, the head of Ziwili sect also felt dizzy and dizzy. Enough. He swung his whisk vigorously and said impatiently, whether he is excellent or not, we will know after trying the road to heaven next month. The elders vomited blood immediately. Even if everyone can complete the road to heaven, so what? There are already more than 20 elders here. Can Elder Changjiang accept more than 20 disciples? Everyone knows that the number of disciples under the name of Elder Changjiang is far from satisfying the number of younger generations who are qualified, capable, and willing to be his disciples. The reason why we came here to ask for favors is to grab the initiative. So everyone tacitly said in unison. That's natural. As long as my younger generation can complete the road to heaven next month, the headmaster will let Changjiang accept my younger generation as a disciple, right? Right. The headmaster Ziwili couldn't help but complain in his heart. If there were really more than 20 inner disciples who all asked to be his disciples, he would definitely not accept them. By the way, when did you have so many outstanding younger generations? Why have you never seen them before? After all, the head of Ziwili was from a big family, so he thought of the reason immediately. These Immortal Cultivation families with hundreds or thousands of years of history certainly cannot put all their eggs in one basket in Kunlin. In the past, everyone let some of their children worship Kunlin, and the other part of their disciples worship Shushan, Penglai, or some other sects. It depends on various factors, such as the changes in the strength of the sect, the resources of the master, the characteristics of the disciples themselves, and the needs of the family, etc. But now Kunlun has a super potential stock like Elder Changjiang, whose proportion in all aspects almost crushes other choices, so everyone did not hesitate at all and bought all the positions directly. To analyze more deeply, with Elder Changjiang's current hot status, his disciples must be squeezed by people. What if only one disciple is not in his eyes? So all the outstanding children in the family should be gathered together, and all of them should be nominated by Changjiang's Henren for him to choose. If you can get one, you will win. Chapter 875. Let me take a rest too soon. It was the day of Kunlun Mountain's opening. During this period, how did the head of Ziwili sect cope with it? Qiu Changtian was too lazy to think about it. He only knew that the threshold of his cave was trampled, and Zhu Yingyan was so annoyed that he recently locked the door of the cave. Pretend not to be there. Finally, on the day of the opening, the two of them left the cave early to avoid being blocked by those enthusiastic elders. As the King's Hinran, Zhu Yingyan did not have a hard and fast requirement to go anywhere, so today he planned to patrol the mountain around Kunlun Tianzu to see these young new generation disciples. As the Chang'an elder, Qiu Changtian could not wander around, so he had to stay in the main hall during the opening of the mountain and wait for the results of the entrance ceremony. The other elders were also in the main hall, but they closed their eyes and rested. At this time of day, everyone's face was extremely calm, in order to show that they had many talents under their door and would not compete with other elders for disciples. In fact, it was indeed the case. In the past few hundred years, only Qiu Changtian's class was fought over because of his clear mind. The rest of the time, everyone was very harmonious and would choose to respect the opinions of the disciples. They would not quarrel with each other because of fighting for who was who. But this time, everyone's expression seemed a little anxious. The reason for the anxiety was not because there was a disciple that had to be snatched, but because they were worried about whether the younger generation of their own clan could catch the supernova train of Changjiang's Hinran. Obviously, being able to complete the road to heaven within the specified time is only the minimum qualification to participate in this competition, but because there are too many qualified people, Changjiang's Hinran must make a choice. In other words, not only must you complete the road to heaven, but you must also grab the first few places to have a slightly greater chance of winning. For example, there are 3 people, A, B, and C. A has completed the road to heaven, and in the main hall of Kunlun Yuxu Palace, he specifically asked to worship Elder Changjiang as his teacher. Changjiang. Good. The next person to complete the road is B, who also asked Changjiang's Hinran. Changjiang. Good. Finally, it was Bin who also nominated Changjiang. Changjiang. I'm sorry, although you were also very qualified, I have already accepted many disciples, and I'm afraid I don't have the energy to take care of you. Thinking of this, the elders wished they could take their place, and directly walk all the way on behalf of their juniors, open the road to heaven in seconds, and then appoint Elder Changjiang before everyone else. Of course, it's impossible to think about it, so everyone can only frown worriedly and pay attention to the result of the road to heaven. As an elder, you must be dignified in your words and deeds. It's impossible to ask about the movement of the road to heaven all the time, so the jinn and disciples under everyone's door took on the responsibility of tipping off. Sword lights kept flying out of Yaksu Palace and flying back, and people were walking through the side doors of the main hall, and then they told the master in secret how far your junior had walked, how fast he was, who was in front of him and behind him, etc. Making the entire main hall of Yaksu Palace look like a secret base for spies to meet. Master Ziwili saw this and wanted to set some rules, but after thinking about it, he decided not to. The main reason was that there were too many elders and the law did not hold everyone responsible. In addition, I had previously blocked a favor for Changzhen, and everyone had already developed a lot of resentment. Now it was not good to arouse public anger. Forget it, everyone is just worried about the younger generation in the clan, so I will just turn a blind eye. Near Kunlun Tianzu, Zhu Yinglyan flew around the mountain with her sword, looking at the black spots clinging to the mountain steps below, and recalled the situation of climbing the mountain in the past, and couldn't help sighing. She saw that the fastest person at the moment was Luo Chuan, the Taoist prodigy of the Luo family. Although he was closest to the finish line, his expression was close to collapse. It was obvious that he had overdrawn most of his strength in order to resist the magic language of the Sky Demon. Walking 1 or 2 steps behind him was Yu Jin from the Tian and Zhu family, who was also that descendant of one of Zhu Yinglyan's cousins. What should the other party call her? Great-great-great-great-great-aunt. Zhu Jin looked much better than Luo Chuan, and walked at a leisurely pace, keeping a body length away from him. As long as she chose to exert her strength, she could easily surpass him at any time and take first place. 5 or 6 steps further back was Jiwan from the Ji family, a girl who looked very weak and delicate, with sweat on her face. These 3 people belonged to the first echelon, and were obviously far ahead of the other disciples behind them. If the senior brother accepted a disciple, he would probably choose from among these 3. Luo Chuan suddenly stopped when there were still about 100 steps to go, bent down and supported his knees, and began to pant. "You're one," he said breathlessly. "Zhu Jin, right? You are worthy at being born in the Tian and Zhu family. You can actually follow me here. It's a pity that I used up too much energy before, and now I don't have the strength to continue walking, damn it." As he said this, Luo Chuan punched his thigh hard, showing a regretful expression. "Otherwise, why would I give up this first place? You are too dramatic," Zhu Jin said calmly, standing 2 steps behind him without saying a word. Luo Chuan. He looked at Zhu Jin silently, and when he saw that the other party had no intention of continuing to walk, he narrowed his eyes slightly. Soon, Jiwan, who was walking in the 3rd place, also caught up with the 2 people who stayed in the same place. "Excuse me, how far is it up there?" Jiwan asked, panting. "About 100 steps. Luo Chuan replied, pretending to be exhausted, and simply sat down on the steps. "I really can't walk anymore." "Oh." Jiwan nodded, and then looked at Zhu Jin. "You can't walk anymore? Rest." Zhu Jin answered concisely. "Then I'll take a rest too," Jiwan said with a smile, and then stood aside. The 3 of them looked at each other, and for a moment they actually felt that they had met their match. This situation was soon seen by the real people who came to investigate, and then spread to Yaksu Palace through the information network. The elders looked at each other when they heard this, wondering what was going on with the 3 cultivation seats of the Zhu, Luo and Ji families. They were about to reach the end, but suddenly gave up and stopped. Looking at the elders of the Zhu, Luo and Ji families, only a few of them frowned, but most of them showed strange expressions. On the main seat, the corner of Ziwile's eye twitched for a moment, thinking that this was not going to be easy. Because after hearing this news, he suddenly remembered a rule of Kunlun for accepting disciples. A rule that everyone in the hall had forgotten, but those children remembered it in their hearts. The first disciple who completed the Kunlun Ascension Road would be the chief disciple of this generation and would be accepted by the headmaster himself. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.